starting by showing Tobirama Senju a summary of Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyright or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201 Scorpion Inventory completed. Scorpion stabbed Sakura in the abdomen with a knife, but Sakura reacted quickly enough and used both hands to hold the knife tightly, so that Scorpion could not pull it out. Scorpion also expected this situation to happen, so he prepared another knife. In order to maximize the power, Scorpion deliberately jumped back a step, and then rushed forward, using the impact force to prepare to stab Sakura head-on. But he was careless for a moment, and fell into the trap set by Kyo secretly, and was pierced by the core of the regeneration core by the parent puppet. Scorpion died. Afterwards, according to Kyo, Scorpion could have avoided this attack, but it seems that Scorpion deliberately exposed his weakness and was defeated. It can be said that from the moment Scorpion saw Kyo and the parent puppet, his desire to fight was not very strong. At most, he just wanted to kill Sakura. In the end, he died in the embrace of the parent puppet and under the gaze of Kyo, which was a lonely soul that was redeemed. TSK, you really got it right. Looking at the final outcome of Scorpion, Jiraiya the 5th generation understood but also had a hint of confusion. To say understanding, Jiraiya felt that Scorpion might still care about his relationship with Kyo and did not want to kill his grandmother with his own hands. To say confusion, Jiraiya thought that Scorpion did not need to die here. He could have completely shaken off the entanglement of Kyo and Sakura and fled the scene. Orochimaru, what do you think is going on? In the entire ninja world, if there is one person who can best understand Scorpion's mood at the moment, perhaps it is only Orochimaru. His experiences with Scorpion are simply too similar. The same young genius, the same defection from his own village, and the same lifespan that ordinary people cannot reach. The most important point is that they both like to do experiments. Probably loneliness. Lonely? Yes, lonely. At this point, Orochimaru's face became unusually serious. From the fact that Scorpion made puppets of his parents when he was a child, we can see that he longs for his parents' love. It's just that because of what everyone knows, Scorpion cannot feel this kind of love. After saying that, Orochimaru glanced at Seikumo and continued, although Kyo is very good to him, she can't completely make up for the absence of his parents. This is the first time he has felt lonely. As Scorpion killed the Third Hokage and joined the Akatsuki organization, no one in the entire organization recognized his art. Even I sneered at the wood he was fiddling with at the time, let alone other people. His own ideals are not recognized. This is the second time Scorpion feels lonely, because no one understands him. When he saw Grandma Kyo and the puppets of his parents again, Scorpion felt lonely for the third time. His parents had died long ago, and his only grandmother is so old. When Kyo dies, he will not have even a relative in the vast ninja world. Perhaps Scorpion could not tolerate such a thing. Rather than killing his grandmother with his own hands and becoming a complete orphan, it is better to die at the hands of his grandmother. At least, at that moment, he was not alone, he still had relatives alive. Jiraiya nodded and did not comment on Orochimaru's statement. But no matter what, Scorpion died at the hands of Kyo, in the arms of his parents' puppets that he made. Scorpion was the first official member of the Akatsuki organization to pass away. When he appeared again, it was the period of the Fourth Ninja World War. Scorpion was resurrected by Kabuto Yakusho with the Impure World reincarnation technique. But there was no use in resurrection because he had no puppet, loves. Scorpion had no choice but to control other ninjas from the Impure World reincarnation without a puppet. On the battlefield, he discovered that Kankuro could summon his body that was transformed into a puppet during his lifetime. Although Kankuro is still not as good as Scorpion at this time, he is at others, but he has mastered such a powerful mouth-to-mouth technique. I don't know if he learned it from Naruto secretly. After a mouth-to-mouth technique, Scorpion was melted by Kankuro's mouth. Some people say that Kankuro can kill Scorpion with his mouth, which is outrageous. But I want to say that Scorpion has no desire to fight in the first place. In the end, he can see the younger generation of the Sand Village using puppetry on the battlefield, especially using his puppet body when he was alive. I think he must be very relieved. Looking at Scorpion's life, he was very empathetic when he was a child. He knew that his parents died in the war, but in order to take into account Kyo's feelings, he didn't say a word, but just played with the figures alone. While the protagonists are all illiterate, Scorpion has mastered chemical pharmaceuticals and precise poison preparation. Scorpion's poison, even Kyo, who completely defeated the poison of the salamander Hanzo, was helpless. It is undoubtedly a deadly bad. His ability to make puppets is not inferior to that of the first-generation puppeteer, and he has developed puppet black technology that retains the properties of chakra. In the entire Naruto series, he is the only one who can make human puppets, and he is the well-deserved king of figures. In the Akatsuki organization, he is neither humble nor arrogant, skilled in placing various spies, doing things meticulously, with a strong sense of time, completing tasks on time, and a truly excellent employee. The entire puppet industry has lost its luster because of his departure, and it has directly reached sunset. As the saying goes, the fall of a genius confirms the fall of an industry and even an era. But at least Scorpion, whose face was frozen in his youth, has confirmed the eternal beauty with himself, symbolizing the peak era of puppeteers. Well, the infantry era and Scorpion ends here, and we will see you next time. Scorpion's life has been watched like this. Whether it is the time and space of Tobirama or the time and space of the third generation Hokage, everyone is still very touched by the fall of such a genius puppeteer. Especially Hatake Sakamo. But the same thing, if he is given 10,000 choices, he will still choose to kill the couple. Not for anything else, just because they are enemies. Letting them go may save Scorpion. But who can save the children of those ninjas who died in Konoha? My hero is his enemy. Many things are not right or wrong. It is people's respective positions that determine the right and wrong of things. Just like the ninjas watching the light curtain. They are very sorry for Scorpion's death. But they don't want to change anything. Who said Scorpion is not one of them, but a member of the Sand Village? The sun rises and the moon sets, and a new day comes. Orochimaru has added ingredients to clone many bodies of Danzo. Although Orochimaru and Danzo are partners in the past, he is also very interested in killing Danzo. Orochimaru, everyone is here, let's start. Okay. Chapter 202. Danzo is resurrected, but days again in a large laboratory. Minato's family, Hatake father and son, Jiraiya the fifth, the third Hokage, and Cool Sasuke all gathered together. They gathered here for no other reason than to fulfill their promise to Danzo. The promise that would bring him back to life. Orochimaru, everyone is here, let's get started. Okay. Orochimaru chuckled and formed seals with his hands. Amid the wails of the death row inmates, Shimura Danzo was once again resurrected by the impure world reincarnation. Am I resurrected? No, why is it still the impure world reincarnation? Danzo, who was pulled back to the human world from the Pure Land, opened his eyes and saw so many people in front of him. He thought that the third Hokage had really kept his promise and resurrected him. However, he only felt it a little bit and found that his body was still the impure world reincarnation. Hiruzen, what's going on? Danzo was a little angry. They said they would resurrect him, why did it end up being the impure world reincarnation? Don't worry, old friend. Orochimaru will revive you soon. At this time, Orochimaru also stood up and said to Danzo in a sinister tone, yes, don't worry, I will revive you, but in the process of resurrection, you need to actively cooperate with me and cannot resist at all. Okay. Danzo looked at Orochimaru deeply. He instinctively felt that something was wrong. But in the face of the temptation of real resurrection, he instinctively ignored this slight mistake. Okay, then I will start now. After saying that, Orochimaru took out a storage scroll and took out the clone of Danzo placed inside. What is this? Seeing his clone lying naked on the ground, Danzo didn't understand what it meant, but he also understood something and didn't say much. Instead, he was very satisfied with the body in front of him. He originally thought that the third Hokage would cheat him in the matter of resurrection and let him revive in his old body, so that he could only live for 1 or 2 years. Now it seems that he was judging others by his own mean heart. The body lying on the ground was obviously his younger self. According to his age when he died, he probably had 40 to 50 years to live. Hurry up, Orochimaru, I can't wait any longer. Okay. Danzo wanted to die sooner, would Orochimaru stop him? Pressing the head of Danzo's impure earth body with his hand, Orochimaru used the soul extraction technique to extract Danzo's soul bit by bit, and then put it into the clone on the ground. Without the existence of the soul, the impure earth body immediately turned into a pile of things like confetti. At this time, the clone of Danzo on the ground opened his eyes. Ah, it feels so good to have a body. After being resurrected, Danzo did not get up immediately, but lay on the ground and carefully felt the wonderful feeling brought by the body. Danzo, you have truly been resurrected. I have fulfilled my promise to you, right? Danzo, who was still immersed in having a body again, did not realize that the tone of the Third Hokage's words was a little wrong. Hearing this, he immediately said happily, "Yes, you have fulfilled your promise to resurrect me. Ha ha, that's good." The Third Hokage sneered and stopped talking. Instead, he asked the people present with his eyes, "Who will go first?" Facing Danzo, the fish on the sticky board, everyone was quite humble and made gestures to let others go first. On the ground, Danzo, who was still enjoying with his eyes closed, didn't know the actions of the Third Hokage and others. After carefully feeling it, he had a rough idea of the situation of this body. This clone did have some problems, because it was the result of Orochimaru increasing the dosage of drugs to ripen it. Even if Danzo did nothing and kept healthy every day, the lifespan of this body would only be 10 years at most, not the 40 or 50 years that Danzo thought. But Danzo didn't know this, and he was still very satisfied with this body. He only thought that the problems he noticed were minor problems. What made him most unhappy at this time was that the Third Hokage and others didn't prepare clothes for him, and let him lie naked on the ground. This is outrageous. Hiruzen, didn't you prepare a set of clothes for me to wear? No, it's a waste to give them to you anyway. What do you mean? At this time, everyone also chose the first person to take action. At this time, they no longer had to consider Danzo's feelings. What you mean is that you will die soon. Preparing clothes for the dead. What a waste. What? Hearing this, Danzo immediately stood up and stared at the group of people in front of him with wide eyes. What do you want to do? Of course, it's what we have always wanted to do. As soon as these words came out, Hatake Seikomo drew his sword in an instant and cut off Danzo's right arm with one sword, causing Danzo, who stood up, to fall back to the ground. Ah! Did you add something to his clone? Danzo was a person in the past, and it was just that one arm was cut off. There was no need to roll on the ground so exaggeratedly, right? The only explanation is that Orochimaru added something to the clone. Pain Enhancer, I added Pain Enhancer to his clone. Pain Enhancer, a drug that can amplify the pain sensation several times, is usually used for torture. Jiraiya and others did not expect that Orochimaru would add this stuff to Danzo's clone. Why? Do you think it's a bit cruel? Jiraiya shook his head. When he thought of the evil things Danzo had done, he could only applaud Orochimaru's actions. You stupid monkey, you don't keep your word. While Jiraiya was talking to Orochimaru, Seikomo was not idle either. He slashed 3 times with his sword and cut off Danzo's other 3 limbs. Amid Danzo's howling, the scene was a little bloody. Ha ha, how come I have no credibility? Aren't you resurrected? But I didn't ask you to kill me. That's none of my business. My promise to you didn't include not letting others kill you. Asshole dead monkey, you're going to die a miserable death. Ha ha, Danzo, just suffer as much as you can, wail as much as you can, and then, go to hell. Snap. Seikomo chopped Danzo in half with another knife. It was this knife that made Danzo realize that he was really dead. However, under this huge pain, he inexplicably showed a smile. This was a smile of relief. But Orochimaru didn't want to let Danzo be relieved so early. He took out several storage scrolls quickly, and took out the clones from them with his hands. Don't worry, Danzo, I have prepared many bodies for you, we can play slowly. Looking at the 7 or 8 clones of himself placed beside him, Danzo was really scared. His eyes revealed extreme fear. He used up his last bit of strength and shouted the last word in the decayed voice. No. Chapter 203 Black Zetsu begins action. The weather was clear and sunny. Jiraiya and others, who had killed Danzo several times, walked out of the laboratory refreshed. I really didn't expect that killing Danzo would have such an effect. To be honest, Jiraiya has been under a lot of pressure since he became the 5th Hokage. On the one hand, with his personality, he didn't want to be a Hokage. He was forced to do so by the 2nd generation Senju Tobirama. Don't want to be a Hokage. Want to continue to travel outside the village. Sure, if you are sentenced to be a traitor in Konoha, you can meet all the above requirements. There was no way, Jiraiya, who didn't want to be a traitor, had to become the 5th generation Hokage of Konoha village reluctantly. On the other hand, with the existence of the light curtain and the supervision of the 2nd generation, Jiraiya couldn't just muddle through in this position. Especially when he knew so many things about the ninja world through the light curtain, he couldn't slack off. He didn't want to be the last Hokage of Konoha. In this case, Jiraiya was always under a lot of pressure. This time, he just wanted to avenge Hayako and the Konoha ninjas killed by Danzo. Unexpectedly, after killing Danzo several times, his mood instantly improved a lot, and he felt much less stressed. It felt like his spirit was suddenly sublimated, and his body became stronger again. After the suicide of Danzo, my waist and legs are no longer sore, and I have more energy to walk. I can go up to the 5th floor in one breath. It's not strenuous at all. The Third Hokage praised the killing of Danzo. He even told Jiraiya and Orochimaru to do more activities like this when they have nothing to do. Hearing this, Orochimaru and Jiraiya looked at each other. They both felt that their teacher seemed a little bit inhuman. After all, he was an old friend who had a friendship with the Third Hokage for decades. They didn't expect their teacher to be so decisive. However, this matter didn't take much effort anyway, so Orochimaru and Jiraiya agreed. Danzo, please, just be a human being. In the activity of killing Danzo, the most special one is Uzumaki Naruto. Logically speaking, among the people present, more or less have a grudge against Danzo. Naruto actually has a grudge against Danzo, but because of his personality, he can't bear to see Danzo being killed like this. Even when Kushina tortured Danzo, Naruto pleaded for Danzo. In this regard, Kushina did not waver at all, and insisted on torturing Danzo slowly with one knife after another. In the end, the knife almost made Naruto vomit. In fact, the couple had long noticed that Naruto's personality seemed to have some problems. Even the sunny and cheerful Minato Namikaze would never show mercy when it was time to kill someone on the battlefield. But Naruto is different. Even when facing an enemy fighting for life and death, he would subconsciously hold back and not kill anyone if he could. To put it nicely, this is kindness and goodness. To put it bluntly, it is just a woman's kindness. The reason why Minato and his wife were so keen to participate in this event was to take the opportunity to educate Naruto. Let him understand what kind of profession a ninja is. This is a profession that requires killing. Just from Naruto's expression, Minato and his wife have a long way to go in educating him. Minato, you know the current situation of Konoha. After lunch, you and Naruto will set off to the Kingdom of Wind. No problem, Jiraiya, then I will go back with Naruto to prepare. Well, the place for the meeting with Kyo is in the Kingdom of Rivers between the Kingdom of Fire and the Kingdom of Wind. I will wait for your arrival in the capital of the Kingdom of Rivers. Sexy immortal, what if Kyo doesn't come? Jiraiya and Minato both smiled when they heard Naruto's question. There is news about Scorpion. I don't believe Kyo won't come. The facts are just as Jiraiya expected. When Minato Namikaze and Naruto Uzumaki arrived at the Sand Village and revealed some information about Sasori, Kyo agreed to go to the capital of Kawano Kuni to discuss matters. Kankuro, Temari, Gaara is your brother. You must take good care of him when I'm not around. Albeit so, I'll trouble you during this period. Kyo packed up a little, explained to Kankuro, Temari, and her brother albeit so, and then left the Sand Village with Minato and Naruto. Before leaving, Naruto also deliberately took a handful of Gaara's hair and some dandruff on his body. At the same time, he also told Gaara to be careful of Totoro's bomb. Although Gaara didn't know why Naruto said that, he could still feel Naruto's concern for him. That's it, I'm leaving. Gaara, come to Konoha village when you have time. Well, I'll go to Konoha to play with you when I have time. Next to a sand dune not far from the entrance of the sand village. Black Zetsu emerged from the shadows, and looked at Kyo who left with Minato and Naruto, his mouth almost breaking with laughter. I'm just about to fall asleep and now there's a pillow. I was just worrying about how to get rid of old lady Kyo, but she ran away with the people of Konoha. Even God is helping me, it's my destiny. Black Zetsu wanted to get rid of Gaara silently, and Grandma Kyo was a link it had to avoid. Now, with Grandma Kyo's departure, it has to start its action. In fact, Black Zetsu's plan is very simple. The ninjas of the Sand Village are now in the worst quality period in history. In order to ensure the success rate of the mission, Kankuro and Temari also have to go on a mission. However, their missions are generally short-distance missions that do not require going abroad, and can be completed in about 3 days at most. Knowing this, Black Zetsu's plan is about to come out. It wants to take advantage of the time when the two siblings go on a mission to create a time difference. Threaten to kidnap the two siblings and ship Gaara out of the village to save them. If it was Gaara before the Chunin exam, Black Zetsu would definitely not do this. Because Gaara at the time really didn't recognize his relatives. But Gaara at this time, after being educated by Naruto, has recovered the emotions that a normal person should have. So Black Zetsu believes that if Gaara is threatened with the lives of Kankuro and Temari, he will definitely come. Hehe, Nagato, you forced me to do this. Get ready to receive the gift of the one-tailed Jinchuriki. Gaara, I'm sorry, I wanted to have dinner with you, but I didn't expect a businessman to come and ask me and Kankuro to escort him to the capital of the Wind Country. I'm afraid I can't have dinner with you. It doesn't matter, go early and come back early. Don't worry, Temari and I will come back as quickly as possible. Grandma Kyo left in the morning, and Kankuro and Temari received a mission in the afternoon to protect a businessman to the capital of the Wind Country. No one noticed anything wrong. After all, it is normal for ninjas to go on missions. It was only at night, when Gaara returned home and saw the note on his desk, that he realized what had happened. Chapter 204 Gaara takes the bait. If you don't want Kankuro and Temari to get into trouble, come to 20 location before midnight tonight. Don't even think about notifying Ebietsu and other Sand Village ninjas. I'll send someone to keep an eye on you. You don't want your brother and sister to become corpses, do you? The note was written very simply, but it made Gaara very angry. He didn't know if the note was a prank or not. However, judging from the fact that this mysterious person could enter his house without anyone noticing and left a note, the possibility of a prank was very small. You know, Gaara is now the next Kazekage designated by the Sand Village. There are many angry ninjas protecting his house. It's impossible that a psychopath went to great lengths to sneak into his house for a prank. There is no such a psychopath in the world. Dare to threaten me with Kankuro and Temari. No matter who you are, you're dead. Gaara decided that he would personally kill this ignorant guy. He really thought that the one-tailed Shikaku in his body was a vegetarian. It has been so long since he went on a mission to kill people. It is time to make some noise and let the ninja world know that there is such a person in the Sand Village. With his familiarity with the Sand Village, Gaara easily left the village from a corner without alarming anyone. The location designated by Black Zetsu was very good. On the one hand, this place is very far from the Sand Village. Even if a fight really breaks out, it will never be noticed by the ninjas of the Sand Village. On the other hand, it is very close to the border between the Wind Country and the Rain Country. If you want to get here before midnight, even Gaara needs to do his best. In this way, Gaara's physical strength can be effectively consumed, so that he will not be in peak condition in a short time. At the same time, if Gaara is dealt with here, Black Zetsu can take the one-tailed Jinchuriki back to the Rain Village and extract the one tail from Gaara's body as quickly as possible. Black Zetsu has everything ready, just waiting for Gaara to arrive. Zetsu, what if the one-tailed Jinchuriki doesn't come? At the place agreed with Gaara, Kizum, who had a shark face, grinned and spoke with a slightly impatient expression. Don't worry, based on my understanding of him, he will definitely come. I mean, what if, you know, Mr. Madara gave me the task of monitoring Uchiha Itachi. I took a big risk by coming out with you this time. Black Zetsu's heart was full of disdain. What Uchiha Madara? The guy wearing a mask was Obito in disguise. As for the risk, there was no risk at all. Would Obito dare to punish Kizum? With Obito's strength, if he really dared to fight Kizum, it was still unclear who would punish whom. I'm the incarnation of Madara's will. If you do things with me, Madara won't blame you. I hope so. Waving same Hada, Kizum waited a little bored. The temperature was very low at night in the desert. Even Kizum, who was known as the tailless beast, felt a little cold at this time. Zetsu, aren't you cold? I'm not cold. Why not? Nonsense, Black Zetsu was created by Kaguya Otsutsuki using yin-yang release, so it was naturally not afraid of cold or heat. I'm the incarnation of Madara's will. Have you ever heard of someone's will being cold? It seems so. Kizum thought about it and found that what Black Zetsu said made sense. So he decided not to continue this topic, but to start another one. By the way, Zetsu, can you tell me why you are so dark? Also, are you good at picking cotton? If you can't talk, don't talk. My skin color is natural, and it has nothing to do with whether I can pick cotton. Black Zetsu was very angry. No matter which person with dark skin was said like this, he would definitely be angry. Its skin was given to it by its mother. It is noble and sacred, and it is fundamentally different from the group of black slaves. I'm sorry, Zetsu. I apologize for what I just said. Kizum is a very honest person. Seeing that Black Zetsu was really angry, he immediately apologized. Okay, I forgive you. Just when Black Zetsu said that he forgave Kizum, he didn't expect that Kizum's next sentence would make him angry again. By the way, Zetsu, do you want to eat watermelon? Eat your uncle. We are doing serious things now, can you be serious? I can't help it. I also want to be serious, but I'm really bored. If you are bored, go pee and play with sand. Don't tease me here again and again. How about we go play with sand together? I tell you, Zetsu, my urn volume is very large. I can definitely build a very spectacular castle. Go away, okay? Black Zetsu rubbed his non-existent temple, looking at Kizum, who really ran to play with sand. He felt that the people in the Akatsuki organization were really becoming more and more difficult to control. Fortunately, it decided to start the Tailed Beast capture plan in advance, otherwise, when the three-tailed beast was resurrected more than a year later, the situation might be even worse than it is now. Wait, after rescuing Mom, all of you will die. In the desert with bright moon and sparse stars, Gaara was running fast, heading towards the area designated by Black Zetsu. When he was about to reach the location after spending several hours, he couldn't help but be a little out of breath with his physique as a Jinchuriki. While there was still a short distance to go, Gaara began to recover his strength and slowly walked towards the agreed place. Not long after walking, he saw a man with a shark face, playing with sand and building a castle. Gaara, who was skilled and bold, did not hide his whereabouts and immediately asked, "Hey, are you the one who kidnapped Kankuro and Temari?" Kizum, who was still concentrating on playing with sand, showed a little regret on his face after hearing the voice from Gaara. What a pity, it's only a little bit away from being finished. He shook his head, thinking that business was more important. Holding same hata in his hand, Kizum just swept it lightly, and the nearly completed sand castle was destroyed. Later, he did not answer Gaara's question, but ran towards Gaara with same hata in his hand. The sooner the fight is over, the sooner the work will be over. He still has to go back to continue monitoring Uchiha Itachi. Swish! Kizum came in front of Gaara and chopped with his sword. And Gaara had no intention of dodging, because he knew that the sand under his feet would help him defend. This was indeed the case. Facing Kizum's slash, the sand around him immediately formed a sand shield to block same hata. Where are Kankuro and Temari? Tell me, I might consider sparing your life. Gaara looked very calm, without a trace of panic. This is a desert area, his home ground. Here, he is not afraid of any enemy. Ha, it seems I've been underestimated. Kizum grinned upon hearing that. He then jumped back, stabbed same hata into the ground, and began to quickly form seals with both hands. Water style. Who's going to repair the dam? Chapter 205 Gaara, Fall. Kizum's expression at this time was very serious. Facing the one-tailed Jinchuriki, he had no choice but to be serious. And the combat environment was in the desert. Kizum knew that once he got into a tug-of-war with the opponent, even he, who was known as the tailed beast without a tail, could not outlast the one-tailed Jinchuriki. Thinking of this, Kizum decided to fight quickly. Water style. Great explosion water wave. Kizum opened his mouth wide, and a large amount of water began to gush out of his mouth. Seeing this, Gaara just frowned slightly, and did not immediately distance himself from Kizum. He wanted to see what this shark-faced man was doing. Using water style in the desert. You think you are the second Hokage. However, as Kizum's water output increased, Gaara still instinctively sensed a hint of danger. With his right foot lightly tapping the ground, Gaara began to jump backwards. Seeing that Gaara wanted to distance himself, Kizum, who was still slowly spitting out water, immediately burst out his chakra and quickly increased the amount of water. In a flash, a huge oval water prison formed by water appeared in the desert. Gaara, who jumped back to evacuate, never expected that Kizum's water would be so large and so fast. A moment of hesitation trapped himself in this huge water prison. The Jinchuriki has entered the water, that's easy. Having agreed to a quick battle, Kizum was not prepared to hold back. He picked up same hata again and began to merge with same hata. After a while, a mutant shark with an arrowed head, fins on both hands, and a tail appeared in Gaara's sight. Go hunting begins. Gaara was very uncomfortable at this time. As the Jinchuriki of the one-tailed Shikaku, his main ability is to control sand. Originally, the yellow sand all around was his best battlefield. But Kizum didn't play by the rules. With the water escape, he immediately changed the surrounding combat environment. Gaara went from being in an advantageous position to being at a disadvantage. What made Gaara feel the most frustrated was that in the water prison, not only could he not speak, but his own sand control technique became extremely difficult to control because it was all water. That's right, it was difficult to control, not uncontrollable. In the water, the chakra he had to spend to control the sand was completely different from the chakra he had to spend on flat ground. If the shaker required to control the sand on flat ground is only 3 and 1 inch the desert, then he would have to consume 50 shake rays to control the sand in the water. Rather than controlling the sand, it would be better to say that he was controlling the mud mixed with water in the sand. Not good. Kizum, who transformed into a shark monster, was like a fish in water in the water. He swung around Gaara at a very fast speed, forcing Gaara to use a lot of shaker to control the mud for defense. As the saying goes, if you defend for a long time, you will lose something. After several consecutive defenses, Kizum tested the defensive speed and strength of the mud. After knowing this, Kizum saw an opportunity and gave Gaara a hard blow. If Gaara didn't have a layer of sand armor, this blow would be enough to seriously injure him. There's no other way. Although I'm very reluctant, you still have to do it. TSK, I should have come a long time ago. Since the Chunin exam, Gaara and Shikaku's relationship has improved a little. When they are free, the two will have some exchanges. Unknowingly, the man and the beast have already developed a little friendship. Of course, if the situation is not too bad, Gaara will never let Shikaku out no matter what. But this is not a choice. Sleeping technique. As soon as his eyes closed, Gaara had already entered a deep sleep. And as he began to fall asleep, a fierce momentum still exploded from his body. Just like the summoning technique, Shikaku's body instantly appeared in Kizum's eyes. Aha! I finally came out, ugly shark monster, just let me kill you obediently. Shikaku's body is very huge, and Kizum's oval-shaped huge water prison can't completely cover Shikaku. You ugly and fat man, who gave you the confidence to say I'm ugly? In our shark clan, I'm a big handsome guy. Shikaku's appearance did not make Kizum feel difficult, he just felt a little troublesome, and he took the time to fight back against Shikaku. He just didn't expect Gaara to be so decisive. Seeing that the situation was not good, he began to summon Shikaku. Fortunately, this move is different from the normal tailed beast transformation. Kizum knew that he only needed to wake up Gaara again. In order to successfully capture the one-tailed beast, Black Zetsu told Kizum a lot of information. He only needed to replicate what Naruto did to Gaara during the Chunin exam. 1,000 sharks in the blink of an eye, Kizum summoned 1,000 man-eating sharks to attract Shikaku's attention. He himself used the transformation technique to become an ordinary shark and mixed in with 1,000 sharks. He wanted to find an opportunity to appear above Shikaku's head and wake up Gaara, who had fallen into a deep sleep. So many small fish. Shikaku waved his hand, and dozens of sand arrows made of sand began to attack the sharks. His sand control technique was fundamentally different from Gaara's. In the water prison, Gaara could only control mud. But Shikaku could form a light shaker film on the surface of the sand to isolate the water. Aha! No matter how many small fish there are, it's useless. Shikaku shot left and right, and the number of sand arrows appeared more and more. Thousands of sharks, more than 100, died in the blink of an eye. If Kizum didn't think of a way, it would only take a short while for Shikaku to kill the remaining more than 800 sharks. But Kizum didn't care. After all, he just summoned these sharks to buy time and attract Shikaku's attention. At this time, he turned into an ordinary shark and had unknowingly swam to the top of the water prison. He only needed to jump once to reach the top of Shikaku's head. I knew there was something wrong with this fish. Looking at Kizum, who had turned back into a shark monster and jumped up, Shikaku immediately launched an attack. He actually noticed that there was something wrong with this fish a long time ago. The other fish were lining up to be killed by him, but this one, not only did not come to die, but kept swimming upwards. It would be strange if there was no ghost. Wind style. Air training bull hit Kizum, who rushed out of the water dragon and jumped in the air, had no room to dodge at all. He could only cross his hands in front of his chest and resist the attack. There was a loud noise, and the air training bull had successfully hit Kizum. He was about to reach Shikaku's head and return to the water again. Aha! You still want to wake up my host, you are so naive. Really? Shikaku, who was still excited that he could have enough fun this time, immediately shrank his pupils when he heard the voice in his ear. At the same time, he felt that there was another person on his head. Impossible, I have already knocked you back into the water. Then take a look at what fell back into the water. Shikaku obediently looked into the water. What he didn't expect was that it was not Kizum who fell back into the water, but Same Habi who turned into Kizum. I knew that using Senshoryu Same to attract your attention was too straightforward, and you would definitely not fall for it. For this reason, I thought of 3 backups, but I didn't expect you to fall for the simplest one. I don't accept it, you are cheating, let's start over. I can't do anything if you don't accept it. I'm not a fool, I will give you a chance to start over. At this point, Kizum had raised his fist and hit Gaara, who appeared on Shikaku's forehead. I've let you play for a while, that's enough, now go back. No, I finally got out. Bang! Kizum ignored Shikaku, picked up his fist as big as a sandbag, and hit Gaara's face hard. At this point, the one-tailed Jinchuriki was awakened, and Shikaku returned to Gaara's body again. It's done. Black Zetsu came to Gaara's eyes at the right time, pressed his hand on his chest, knocked him unconscious, and temporarily isolated him from Shikaku. Okay, you take him back to the Hidden Rain Village. What about you? I still need to go to the Hidden Sand Village to extract the one-tailed shaker for us to delay enough time. Okay, then be careful. Yeah. Hearing Kizum's caring words, Black Zetsu suddenly felt that this guy didn't seem so annoying. Just when Black Zetsu was thinking that he could spare Kizum's life after rescuing his mother, he saw Kizum, who had already put on his clothes and carried Gaara to the Land of Rain, said, "Go home and pick cotton." Kizum, you are so stupid. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 206. Confused Pain. The sun rises and the moon sets, heralding the arrival of a new day. Because it takes a lot of time to extract the chakra of the tailed beasts and enter the outer path demon statue. In order not to be disturbed, Black Zetsu must buy enough time for the Akatsuki organization. Its method is actually very simple. Just let White Zetsu use the disguise technique to pretend to be Gaara. As long as they are not close to each other, others cannot tell the difference between White Zetsu and the original body just by relying on chakra and appearance. It just so happens that Gaara's relatives in the Sand Village have been sent out of the village to do tasks by people arranged by it, and they will not be able to come back without 2 or 3 days. During this period, White Zetsu, who is pretending to be Gaara, only needs to be careful about his words and deeds, and the probability of being seen through can be ignored. From today on, you are Gaara, do you understand? Of course I understand, I'm not an idiot, do you need to say this? Listening to White Zetsu's words, Black Zetsu's eyes twitched. As we all know, the personalities of species like White Zetsu are more or less problematic. This guy is the most normal one that Black Zetsu thinks so far. Except for his slightly poisonous mouth, everything else is fine. At least much better than that White Zetsu who wants to know what it feels like to poop. This is related to our big business, we must not be careless. It's your big business, not mine. Okay, be careful, I'm going back to the Hidden Rain Village. Kneel down. Black Zetsu's mouth twitched, but in the end he said nothing, disappeared into the ground. The capital of the river country, Namikaze Minato and his group spent a day and finally arrived here. It's no wonder that they were so fast, it's really that Kyo couldn't wait to know the information about her good grandson Scorpion. Originally, seeing Kyo so anxious, Minato wanted to use the Flying Thunder God to fly to the river country directly. Before leaving for the Sand Village, he considered this situation and gave Jiraiya a Flying Thunder God kunai. But Kyo still didn't trust Minato, the Konoha ninja. She was afraid that Minato would send him to some strange place. Therefore, it is better to go to the Kaikuni by rushing. Please sit down, Elder Kyo. In an ordinary hotel, Jiraiya, who had been waiting for a long time, also politely poured a cup of tea for Kyo. After all, she is an elder who is older than him, and he must be polite. Don't waste time, I didn't come here to drink tea with you. Kyo spoke frankly, and Jiraiya didn't mind. Seeing Naruto yawning and looking a little tired, he simply asked Minato to take Naruto to rest. Anyway, Minato already knew what he would say to Kyo, and it didn't matter whether Minato stayed here or not, so it was better to let them have a good rest. Elder Kyo, have you heard of the Akatsuki organization? Minato and Naruto went to rest, and Jiraiya went straight to the point and opened the topic of this negotiation. Akatsuki? I've heard of it. It seems to be a mercenary organization with rebel ninjas as the main members. What do you mean? Seeing Kyo's reaction, Jiraiya nodded and replied, yes, Scorpion is in this organization. After so many years, Kyo finally got the exact news about Scorpion. Kyo was very excited and almost cried. After a while, Kyo calmed down and asked, tell me, what does Konoha want? As an old man in the ninja world, Kyo knew that there is no such thing as a free lunch. Jiraiya, the 5th Hokage, came to discuss with him in person. On the one hand, he valued him, and on the other hand, he probably had a lot of ambitions. Elder Kyo also knows what the current situation in the ninja world is like. The small actions of Iwagaku and Kamugaku make us feel very annoyed. So, you want our Sand Village to help you deal with Iwagaku and Kamugaku? Excuse me, the Sand Village is probably no longer able to help Konoha fight against these two ninja villages. Kyo's words were very straightforward, and he made it clear that the Sand Village would not help Konoha fight against Iwagaku and Kamugaku. Not to mention that the information about Scorpion was Kyo's private matter. Even if it was a serious official business, Sand Village really didn't have the strength to help Konoha. Elder Kyo misunderstood what I meant. Kyo's straightforward refusal did not make Jiraiya angry. He just shook his head and continued, "We Konoha will not force Sand Village to fight against Kamugaku and Iwagaku. We only need the support of Sand Village's minerals and other materials." Is it that simple? It's that simple. To be honest, if Sand Village was asked to take out daily necessities such as water, soy sauce, and salt, Kyo might consider it. After all, Sand Village itself lacks these things, so how could it give them to Konoha? It's just that the Sand Village doesn't have everything like minerals, but it can be said that it has a lot. There is a lack of everything in the desert, but there is no lack of minerals. Because sand itself is a kind of mineral, Sand Village also has technology to further purify the minerals in the sand. So in Kyo's opinion, Jiraiya's request is really too low. Perhaps seeing Kyo agree so readily, Jiraiya immediately said, "If possible, I want to make the purchase price of the ore cheaper." "No problem, Konoha only needs to pay us 90% of the market price." "Ha, then thank you, Elder Kyo." Kyo looked at Jiraiya deeply, and replied seriously, "Then you can tell me in detail about this Akatsuki organization now." Rich life experience, Kyo knows that this Akatsuki organization must have a pit. This is why she agreed to Jiraiya's request so readily after knowing the whereabouts of Scorpion. It is to understand this Akatsuki organization better. She doesn't believe that the organization that her good grandson joined will be an ordinary rebellious ninja mercenary organization. Okay, I will talk to Elder Kyo about Akatsuki now. Jiraiya did not mention the signing of the contract. With their respective identities in the village, verbal promises are also valid. Unless Kyo wants to completely break up with Konoha. Does the Sand Village have the strength to dare to break up with Konoha? Obviously not. Akatsuki is a very dangerous rebel ninja organization, and every official member of it is an S-rank rebel ninja. Here, Jiraiya is explaining Akatsuki to Kyo. On the other side, Kizum, who has traveled a long way, has also returned to the Hidden Cloud village. When Tendo Pain saw the one-tailed Jinchuriki thrown to the ground by Kizum, he was completely dumbfounded. After his brain went blank for a second, Tendo Pain stared at Kizum and said, "Kizum, I don't remember the organization assigning you the task of capturing the one-tailed Jinchuriki. You'd better explain to me, what's going on? How didn't Zetsu say that you wanted to start the plan in advance and let me capture the one-tailed Jinchuriki?" Without hesitation, Kizum threw the blame to Black Zetsu. He was just a part-time worker, and he couldn't bear the blame like this. Seeing that Pain didn't say anything, he just kept staring at him. Kizum, who was a little scared by being looked at, pretended to be calm and said, "How about I send him back?" "Forget it, you take a rest first, I'll go notify the members of the organization to start extracting one-tailed chakra." After saying that, without waiting for Kizum to react, Pain dragged Gaara back to the base. Chapter 207. Phantom Dragon 9 Seals. What's wrong? Inside the Akatsuki base, Conan looked at Nagato with a grim face and was a little confused. It was Kizum. He brought back the one-tailed Jinchuriki. What? How dare he do that? Conan looked shocked. Because she knew that Nagato planned to wait until the three-tailed was resurrected before capturing the tailed beasts. By the time, the funds in the organization should have accumulated almost enough. As long as the nine-tailed beasts were captured, Nagato, who had absolute strength, could carry out drastic construction in the Hidden Rain village. Instead of sitting on a lot of wealth like now, but not daring to vigorously build a Hidden Rain village, he could only be exchanged for detonating tax by Conan. It was Kizum who was instigated by Zetsu. Zetsu? Conan frowned. She has always been wary of Madara, Obito, and Zetsu. But most of her attention was on Madara, ignoring Zetsu. Unexpectedly, the former has been quiet recently, but the latter has a problem. What did Zetsu say about the three tails? Zetsu said he has a way to find a replacement for the three tails. The two of them are now in a bit of a dilemma. Zetsu was clearly forcing Nagato to start implementing the plan to capture the tailed beasts ahead of time. The two are naturally very dissatisfied with this. But it is impossible for them to send Gaara back. It's okay, Conan, I'm ready. Okay, no matter what decision you make, I will support you. Well, I understand. Kizum, where have you been? In an ordinary hotel in the Hidden Rain village, Kizum dragged his slightly tired body back here. He planned to take a shower first and then sleep for a few hours. Except for him and Itachi in the safe Hidden Cloud village, the Undead group and the R group are all doing missions outside. It takes time to find a safe place to seal the tailed beasts temporarily. Taking advantage of this time, he can also have a good rest. As a result, as soon as he entered the door, he saw Itachi with an expressionless face in the lobby. Nothing, Zetsu asked me to go to the land of wind to capture the one-tailed Jinchuriki. One-tailed Jinchuriki. Hearing this, Itachi's brows furrowed instantly. As formal members, they naturally knew the ultimate goal of the organization. However, if we start capturing the one-tail now, what about the three-tail? Also, why did Zetsu ask Kizum to go, instead of Pain? At this moment, Itachi thought a lot. Did it succeed? Of course, even if we were fighting in the desert, my water jutsu could suppress the sand of the one-tailed Jinchuriki. Kizum grinned. From his expression, Itachi could even see a little bit of pride. Yes, it was right for Kizum to be a little proud of capturing the one-tailed Jinchuriki alone, even in the desert where the one-tail was most suitable for fighting. So, are we going to start sealing the one-tail soon? Yes, Pain has already notified the others. Okay, I understand. Seeing that Itachi was no longer interested in talking, Kizum prepared to take a shower. Watching Kizum heading to the bathhouse, Itachi was very conflicted at this moment. He didn't know whether he should hand over this information to Konoha. If in the past, the top fighting force in Konoha village was only the elderly Third Hokage, Itachi would never send the information back. But now it's different. The whole ninja world is spreading that Konoha has mastered some kind of resurrection secret technique that can revive the dead. Just the ones who appear in the open include the fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato, the former nine-tailed Jinchuriki Uzumaki Koyuki, and Konoha White Fan Hatake Seikumo. In secret, it is unknown how many strong people Konoha has resurrected. In addition, Jiraiya and Orochimaru are also in the village. Today's Konoha, judging from the top fighting force alone, is no less than the Akatsuki organization. Not to mention, Konoha also has a large number of Chunin. So logically, Itachi should pass this news back to Konoha. But he also has his own concerns. I don't know if the village has resurrected my father and mother. When Itachi thought of his parents, he hated himself very much. He thought that if he hadn't been unable to think of a way to have the best of both worlds, his father and mother wouldn't have died in front of him. Sasuke wouldn't have had to go through such a miserable childhood. In the end, he wasn't strong enough. Whether it was strength or brains, he wasn't strong enough. In order not to put Sasuke and his parents who might have been resurrected in danger again, Itachi decided not to send the information back. His reasons were also very good. Give Konoha more time, and I'm sure the number of resurrected powerful ninjas will be more, right? Anyway, the tailed beast must be sealed in order, and when it's time to seal the nine-tailed beast, it will take a long time. Phantom Dragon 9 Sealing. This is the name of the sealing technique for sealing the nine-tailed beasts. To use this sealing technique, 3 conditions must be met. The first. There must be more than one person performing the technique, and the main body does not need to be present, only the chakra is required. The second. The more people performing the technique, the better, up to 9. When there are 9 people, the time to seal the tailed beast will be shortened to 3 days and 3 nights. The third one. The outer path demon statue, Nagato called it Hades, is needed as the carrier to seal the tailed beast. In the entire ninja world, only the Akatsuki organization has the above 3 conditions. After all, the only outer path demon statue is here. Laughs, you ready? Once we start, we will need at least 4 days for Hades to completely absorb the chakra of the one tail. Several phantoms appeared on the fingers of the outer path demon statue. The real bodies of these phantoms are still outside the Hidden Rain village. They just use the rings on their hands to use the phantom body technique to make their phantoms appear here. Let's get started. I still need to make money after we're done. What a hassle. It seems that I can't offer sacrifices to the evil god these days. I don't care. Is 4 days so long? Why don't you see Zetsu? If he's here, it will only take 3 days and 3 nights for the 9 of us to gather our strength, right? Pain glanced at Deidara, who was talking, and explained, "Z2 has something important to do." What could be more important than sealing the tailed beast? Pain didn't reply this time, but Scorpion spoke up, as if to reprimand or remind him, "Shut up, Deidara, you talk too much." Deidara still respected Scorpion very much. Seeing that Scorpion had spoken, he had to shut up and not ask any more questions. Since everyone is ready, let's not waste time. Let's get started. With Pain's order, everyone began to make hand seals. When the hand seals were completed, a stream of blue chakra appeared from the mouth of the Outer Path demon statue behind them. Chakra gushed out of the mouth of the Outer Path demon statue and was divided into 8 streams of chakra that looked like a dragon. These chakras acted on Gaara's body, forming a huge chakra ball. After a while, the chakra of the one-tailed Shikaku emerged from Gaara's body in the chakra ball and flowed back into the mouth of the Outer Path demon statue. Chapter 208 The Frustrated White Zetsu. The Akatsuki organization is sealing the one-tailed beast, and Kyo is also going back to the Sand Village. In fact, when Jiraiya said that the ultimate goal of the Akatsuki organization is to capture the 9-tailed beasts, Kyo wanted to go back to the Sand Village. She was afraid that if she was not careful, Gaara would be captured by the Akatsuki organization. She had already learned from Jiraiya how terrifying the official members of the Akatsuki organization were. Not to mention her own grandson Scorpion, Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kazuma are also well known in the ninja world. There is also the less famous Immortal Judo, and his grandson's partner, the Explosion Maniac. If Jiraiya did not lie, these people are really strong. If they attack the Sand Village regardless of everything, it seems that the village is really hard to resist. Even if they can successfully resist the attack of the Akatsuki organization, the loss of the village will be quite large. Fortunately, Jiraiya also said in the end that the Akatsuki organization should take action more than a year later when the 3-tailed beast is resurrected. This slightly dispelled Kyo's idea of returning to the village immediately. However, after a long discussion, it was time for her to return to the village. "Hokage, can't you be more flexible? As long as you agree to my request, I can guarantee that the Sand Village will fully support Konoha." Outside a hotel in the capital of Kawamakuni, Jiraiya replied with difficulty to Kyo's request. "It's not that I can't be flexible, but the resurrection technique is really complicated, and the materials consumed are many and complicated, and it takes a long time. I need to go back and discuss it with the teacher and Minato before I can decide." Kyo knew that Jiraiya was right. For such a big matter, it should be discussed with the village's senior leaders before making a decision. "Don't worry, Elder Kyo, the teacher is not an unkind person. I think when he sees that the Sand Village has shown the right attitude, he should agree to resurrect your son and daughter-in-law." Yes, Kyo's request was simple, that is, she wanted to resurrect her son and daughter-in-law. During her days in the Sand Village, Kyo could be said to have dedicated everything to the village. She was worthy of everyone in the village, except her son and daughter-in-law. If she hadn't arranged for them to carry out the mission, they wouldn't have met the killer Itachi Seikumo on the way. If they hadn't met Itachi Seikumo, perhaps they wouldn't have died during World War II. If they hadn't died, the good grandson Scorpion wouldn't have betrayed the village, and the third Hokage wouldn't have died. Thinking of the half-dead village now, Kyo couldn't help but blame herself. She blamed herself for why she gave such an order that not only killed her son and daughter-in-law, but also weakened the village through a series of chain reactions. She really deserved to die. Then I'll stay in the Sand Village, waiting for good news from the Hokage. Sexy Immortal, why didn't you agree to Kyo's request? After Kyo left, Jiraiya, Naruto, and Minato also started their journey back to Konoha. On the way, Naruto couldn't help but ask the question in his heart. Facing Naruto's question, Jiraiya also patiently replied, "Things that are too easy to get are cheap, and no one will cherish cheap things. Only expensive things that are obtained at a great cost will be cherished by others. Do you understand?" "Oh." Naruto nodded, not quite understanding, which made Minato roll his eyes. The reason why Jiraiya said this was clearly to raise the price. He not only wanted the Sand Village to fully support Konoha, but also wanted to get more from the Sand Village. As for what it is, it's nothing more than secret techniques. Things like this that can increase the foundation of the village, no one would complain about too much. "Teacher, what if the Sand Village doesn't have the bodies of Scorpion's parents?" During World War II, Konoha and Sand Village fought very fiercely. The place where Scorpion's parents died was in the territory of the Wind Country. When Kyo arrived here, it is estimated that their bodies had already been covered by yellow sand. It is still difficult to find a few bodies in the vast desert. It doesn't matter if there is none. Have you forgotten? We can still ask the Nademi for help. Anyway, they have already promised to help us get the cells of the third Hokage. If we also get a copy of the cells of Kyo's son and daughter-in-law, it should be possible, right? Scorpion's parents died during World War II. And World War II started around the 29th year of Konoha. Therefore, in the time and space of Tobirama, Scorpion's parents were already born. Will it be too much trouble for the Nademi? It doesn't cost money anyway, at least give it a try. Teacher, what you said makes sense. Yeah, I think it makes sense too. After rushing, Kyo still spent a day to return to the Sand Village. The first thing she did when she came back was to find her younger brother Ebizo and ask him about the village and Gaara in the past 2 days. There is nothing wrong with the village, everything is fine, but Gaara. What happened to Gaara? Hearing that Gaara might have an accident, Kyo's heart instantly became uneasy. Gaara is the most important person for the revival of the Sand Village. Anyone in the village can have an accident, but he can't. Don't be nervous, sister. Nothing happened to Gaara. I just think he has become much quieter these 2 days. Kyo was relieved to hear that Gaara was fine. But she didn't relax. Because of his childhood experience, Gaara's character does have some flaws. But in the past year or so, Kyo felt that Gaara had become much better. At least, he no longer casually showed his cold temperament that kept people away from him. He also spent more and more time talking and communicating with others. Everything was developing in a good direction, so why did he suddenly become silent? What about Temari and Kankuro? Do they have anything to say? Temari and Kankuro went out of the village to do a mission. They will probably be back in a day or two. Okay, then I'll go to Gaara's place in person. After saying that, Kyo simply packed up and started to go to the Hokage office building to meet Gaara. At this time, Gaara, White Zetsu, was so frustrated. At the time, Black Zetsu had already left the village, but when he thought of this guy's poisonous tongue, he suddenly decided to be safe. So it returned to White Zetsu and sealed his ability to speak with the yin-yang escape technique. If he wanted to speak, he could only make the sounds of HMMMM and R. This was also the main reason why Ebizo said he was silent. Anyone who can only make such unknown sounds as HMMMM and R would not have the desire to speak. Damn Black Zetsu, you have been bullying us White Zetsu by relying on your superior skills. One day, sooner or later, I will overthrow your tyranny and let White Zetsu to the top of the ninja world. At the time, you, Black Zetsu, will be my prisoner, and I, White Zetsu, will be crowned king. White Zetsu, who was reviewing the documents, was mumbling madly in his heart. The strength of holding the pen to write was also increasing unconsciously. Outsiders saw it and thought he had some deep hatred for these documents. At this time, Kyo walked into the office of the Hokage and saw Gaara who was frantically reviewing the documents. Gaara, have you been okay in the past 2 days? Chapter 290 Maru's intuition. Facing Kyo's inquiry, White Zetsu could only hum lightly, and then responded with silence. Kyo, although a little surprised by Gaara's reaction, did not feel anything wrong. The appearance, chakra and so on were all correct. It couldn't be that she was old and blurry, right? It's good that you're fine. Nodding, Kyo began to teach Gaara in a familiar way. Although it was called a class, it was mainly about how to review documents and other things. In fact, it was easier to get by with Kyo's mother-in-law, but it was not easy to get by with Temari and Kankuro. As 2 days passed in a flash, Temari and Kankuro also successfully completed the mission and returned to the Sand Village. As soon as they came back, they felt something was wrong. They could clearly feel that Gaara didn't seem to want to see them. Just after reporting the mission, Gaara immediately dragged them out of the office. Temari, what's going on? Looking at the closed office door behind her, Temari was also confused. Maybe the lessons taught by Kyo are a little difficult. Gaara doesn't want us to disturb him. I hope so. I don't want Gaara to go back to the way he was before. Kankuro couldn't help but shudder when he thought of the old Gaara. At the time, Gaara really didn't recognize his relatives. When he went crazy, he would kill him and Temari. Now Gaara is very good. He treats them politely and calls them brother and sister from time to time. How to describe this feeling? It's very refreshing. In the office of the Hokage, Kyo was away because of something, and only Gaara sat in the position of the Hokage. Temari and Kankuro are back, and the most dangerous moment has come. I can't let them feel that I am not the real Gaara. I have to try to avoid meeting them too much. It is impossible not to meet them. The 3 of them live in the same house. They'll see each other every day. White Zetsu can only try to avoid meeting them. Of course, the safest way is to let them continue to do missions outside the village. Thinking of this, White Zetsu's mind moved, and he began to arrange the tasks for Temari and Kankuro. When Black Zetsu left Sand Village, he informed White Zetsu of some of the people he had planted in the village. He told him that he could use these people to continue to delay time in case of emergency. It just so happened that he needed these people now. As long as we spend this night safely, we can delay for several more days. If possible, White Zetsu wanted Temari and Kankuro to leave the village now. Today's Sand Village is in ruins, and in order for the village to be successfully revived, everyone must fulfill their due responsibilities. As the children of the Fourth Hokage, Temari and Kankuro have no choice but to do their part. As long as there is a mission, they will not say much. Even if they just came back from the mission in the morning and did not rest and adjust, they would not complain at all if they continued to go on the mission. But White Zetsu still needs to spend time to contact the people, especially to contact them without telling everyone in Sand Village. At least, he needs half a day. This kind of undercover mission is too dangerous. I will never be an undercover again next time. In the early hours of the night, the Fourth Hokage's residence was brightly lit. Gaara knew at a glance that Temari and Kankuro had not slept yet. It was obvious that they were waiting for him. Gaara couldn't help but exclaim in his heart, "Damn it." He didn't go home until the early hours of the morning just because he didn't want to meet these two people. And tomorrow he will get up early again and stagger the time. He only needs to meet once when the mission is assigned. This will ensure that he, the fake, will not be discovered to the greatest extent. What? Gaara can't sleep. How fresh, he is White Zetsu and not the real Gaara. Gaara doesn't sleep, which doesn't mean that he is White Zetsu. But now, he can't go home. He can't fool Temari and Kankuro by saying that he is too tired and needs to go back to his room to rest, right? Isn't this treating people as fools? For now, he can only go to the Hokage's office to deal with it for one night. Kankuro, why hasn't Gaara come back yet? At home, Temari looked at the closed door from time to time, feeling quite worried. Maybe Gaara has some urgent documents to deal with. Compared to Temari's worry, Kankuro was much more relaxed. But this was not a solution. He didn't know when Gaara would come back, but he really wanted to sleep. Since you are so worried, let's just go to the Hokage building. Forget it, let's not disturb Gaara. After saying that, Temari sighed for some reason and prepared to go to bed. Seeing this, Kankuro cheered silently and prepared to go to bed. The most dangerous night was passed by Gaara like this. The next morning, in the Hokage's office, Gaara handed a mission document to Temari and Kankuro with a pair of panda eyes. At the same time, a middle-aged wealthy man with a big belly walked into the office. These two should be Temari-sama and Kankuro-sama, right? After reading the documents, Temari and Kankuro felt a little strange. They just came back yesterday, and today someone asked them to escort out of the village by name. When did she and Kankuro become so popular? Yes. But as I said, reviving the Sand Village is the obligation of every resident and ninja. Temari and Kankuro just have a high frequency of some strange tasks, and they didn't think that this was to divert them from the tasks specially formulated for them. Then let's set off now without further delay. It's too rushed, we need half an hour to prepare. Okay, then I'll wait for the two ninjas at the entrance of the village. Okay. After the wealthy man left, Temari obviously had something to say to Gaara. But Gaara didn't want to talk to her. He picked up a document casually and waved it, indicating to Temari that he still had a lot of work to do. Seeing this, Temari could only helplessly pull Kankuro away from the Hokage building. Kankuro, do you think Gaara is a little strange? Strange? Apart from being a little silent, there doesn't seem to be anything strange about him, right? It's because Gaara is so silent that I find it strange. Think about it carefully. From yesterday to today, Gaara hasn't said a single word to us. That's normal. Kankuro didn't care when he heard Temari's words. After all, we have only met Gaara twice yesterday and today. Plus, Gaara looks very busy, so it's normal that he doesn't want to talk. Well, what you said makes sense. Temari turned around and glanced at the Hokage's office upstairs. Her woman's intuition told her that something was wrong with Gaara. But she couldn't tell exactly what was wrong. I hope it's just my illusion. Chapter 210 Nagato. A gift for Yahayako's new life. Thank you for your hard work, that's all. After 4 days of extracting the seal, the Akatsuki organization finally managed to get all of Shikaku's chakra into the outer path statue. After releasing the 9 sealing techniques of the illusionary dragon and the illusionary body light technique, Tendo Pain looked at Gaara, who was already dead, expressionlessly, and said to Conan, "Bury him." Okay. Conan obeyed and dragged Gaara's body away. "Z2, when did you come back?" Seeing Conan leave, Pain tilted his head and stared at a corner. As he finished speaking, Black Zetsu appeared from the corner. "I came back 2 days ago. I didn't bother you when I saw you guys sealing the one tail." Pain nodded without comment and continued, "Do you have anything else to do?" "Nothing. I just want to ask when the organization will go to the Hidden Cloud Village to capture the two-tail." "Z2, I think you need to understand one thing. I'm the leader of the Akatsuki organization. Only I can order them. You're overreaching." Nagato, who was somewhere in the base, was very unhappy at this time. Black Zetsu, this guy, asked Kizum to capture the one-tailed Jinchuriki without saying hello to him. This was a provocation to Nagato. If he didn't need Zetsu's reconnaissance ability, he could kill Zetsu with just this. Moreover, the people in the Akatsuki organization are not animals. How can they be asked to continue working immediately after working for 4 days without sleep? The donkeys in the daimyo's mansion also need to rest. What's more, they are still human beings. I'm sorry, Pain. You know I didn't mean that. I'm just a little anxious. The situation in Konoha is getting weirder and weirder. If we don't hurry up, I'm afraid the organization's plan will be destroyed by Konoha. Don't worry. In front of God, Konoha can't stop this. But what you said makes sense. Well, let's do it in 3 days. Hearing that Pain agreed to capture the two-tailed Jinchuriki, Black Zetsu was immediately happy. Then, which team should be sent to the Land of Lightning? Pain looked at Black Zetsu deeply and said, "No, I'll go there myself." "You go there yourself?" Black Zetsu looked a little strange, as if he had heard something absurd. Nagato thought he had hidden it well. In fact, Zetsu and Obito had always known that Nagato's health was not good. Nagato's chakra had been absorbed by the outer path demon statue, and he had to nurture Madara's samsara. It would be strange if Nagato's health could be good. This resulted in Nagato's inconvenience in movement, and he tried not to go out if he could. In Black Zetsu's view, capturing the two-tailed Jinchuriki only required sending a team at random. Whether it is the immortal duo, the artistic duo, or the handsome and beastly combination of Itachi and Kizum, they are all capable of capturing the two-tailed Jinchuriki. Nagato does not need to go there in person. Unless he has his own purpose. Since the organization has begun to implement the plan to capture the tailed beast, let the ninja world feel the fear brought by God in advance. After saying that, Pain ignored Black Zetsu and began to walk deeper into the base. While walking, he thought. Calculating the time, Yahiko should be resurrected soon, right? It is just the right opportunity to capture the two-tailed Jinchuriki to pay Konoha for resurrecting Yahiko, and at the same time, to celebrate Yahiko's new life. Oh no, Elder Kyo, Gaara is missing. What? Kyo, who had just finished lunch and was about to wash the dishes in the sand village, was shocked when she heard this. Tell me in detail, what happened? Why did Gaara disappear? Yes. Then, the ninja told Kyo what happened just now. It was very simple. At lunchtime, Gaara dispersed the angry ninjas and said that he wanted to take a good look at the sand village alone. They thought that no one in the village should be able to hurt Gaara, so they agreed and turned around to have lunch with their colleagues. Unexpectedly, when they finished their meal, they couldn't find Gaara. Now they ran to find Elder Kyo in a hurry, wanting her to take charge of the situation. Immediately mobilize people to find him. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, you must find Gaara. At this moment, Kyo instantly thought of the missing Third Hokage. It was the same at the time. The village was looking for the Third Hokage like crazy, but they couldn't find him. It was not until a few days ago that she learned from Jiraiya that it was her own grandson who killed the Third Hokage. Could Gaara have also been plotted against? Thinking of this possibility, Kyo didn't care about washing the dishes, and searched for Gaara in the village with the younger ninjas. However, Gaara, who was disguised as White Zetsu, had already fled, and the original one was buried by Conan. Kyo and the others searched frantically in the sand village, but it was a miracle that they could find him. No, Elder Kyo, we have searched everywhere in the village, but we still can't find Gaara. After spending a day and a night, and mobilizing almost all the ninjas they could mobilize, they still couldn't find Gaara. Go, send a message to Konoha, saying that Gaara is missing, and ask them to help find him. I'm afraid it's not appropriate to tell Konoha about this news. In the crowd, a Jonin hesitated when he heard Kyo's order. The impact of Gaara's disappearance is comparable to the impact of the disappearance of the Third Hokage. Shouldn't this be covered up as much as possible? How can we still tell others about it? Konoha is our ally. The grandson of the Third Hokage, the son of the Fourth Hokage, the disciple of the Fifth Hokage, the student of the Copy Ninja, and the nine-tailed Jinchuriki Uzumaki Naruto were all friends of Gaara. We should only tell them publicly and privately. That's fine. The Jonin didn't insist. Who wouldn't be confused by the list of titles? Kyo said. You've worked hard, go and rest first. Yes. After the ninjas left, Kyo said to herself, could it be that Akatsuki has taken action in advance? In the entire ninja world, it seems that Akatsuki is the only organization that can deal with Gaara without anyone noticing, except Konoha. And the purpose of Akatsuki is to collect all the tailed beasts. The more Kyo thought about it, the more she felt that Akatsuki had taken action. It seems that I, an old man, have to leave the mountain in advance. She had originally thought that after Konoha resurrected her son and daughter-in-law, she would take them to find Scorpion. With her parents and her grandmother, there was a great probability that Scorpion would come back with them. But she didn't expect that the plan would not change quickly. Akatsuki's sudden action caught her off guard. For Gaara, the Sand Village must show its attitude. And the most capable fighting force in the village at present is only her. I hope it's not too late. From beginning to end, Kyo didn't know that the missing Gaara was an imposter. Chapter 211. Evil World Gaara. What? Gaara is missing. Naruto, who was in a good mood today, was shocked when he heard Jiraiya say this in the Hokage's office. Could it be that the Akatsuki organization has taken action? Sasuke frowned beside him. Although he had a general relationship with Gaara, Gaara's disappearance was really related to the Akatsuki organization. Does that mean that the Akatsuki organization's plan has been advanced? A single move can affect the whole body. The Akatsuki organization's plan has been advanced, and Konoha naturally has to make corresponding arrangements. And he, Uchiha Sasuke, will also face Uchiha Itachi in the near future. However, unlike on the light screen, he will not face Itachi alone in the present world. Most likely, the Akatsuki organization has taken action. Apart from them, no one in the entire ninja world will have the idea of taking advantage of the Jinchuriki. Jiraiya was also very distressed. He knew that he would have to confront the Akatsuki organization sooner or later, but he did not expect that this time would come so soon. Konoha has not yet resurrected Yahiko, and Nagato can't wait to implement the plan to capture the tailed beast. What exactly is he trying to do? By the way, Naruto, didn't you collect some of Gaara's body tissue when you were in the Sand Village? Yes, Dad, are you thinking about it? That's right. Minato nodded to Naruto, and then said to Jiraiya. Naruto has Gaara's body tissue in his hand. We can let Lord Orochimaru try the impure world reincarnation to see if he can summon Gaara. Minato, you're right. If Gaara can be summoned by the impure world reincarnation, it means that he is in danger. If the impure world reincarnation fails, it means that he is not dead yet. In this way, we can form an elite team and go to the Rain Country to rescue him. Yes, that's what I mean. Without further delay, go to Orochimaru. Jiraiya knew where Orochimaru was. Since Orochimaru returned to Konoha, there were no ninjas monitoring him openly. But secretly, there were still 3 teams of Anbu ninjas who monitored him 24 hours a day in 3 shifts. Orochimaru knew this himself, but he just didn't care. Anyway, he has become a good man now, so he can monitor him. He, Orochimaru, is innocent and has a clear conscience. Orochimaru, we need your help with something. What is it? In a laboratory, Jiraiya and his group found Orochimaru very smoothly. Jiraiya did not waste any words and took out a small bottle. The small bottle contained Gaara's body tissue. Help me to revive Gaara. Here, this is the material. After handing the material to Orochimaru, Jiraiya turned to Minato and said, please go again, Minato, and pick up a death row prisoner from the death row. Okay, I'll be back soon. Seeing that Minato disappeared in a flash, Orochimaru laughed and said, it's convenient to know Flying Thunder God. After that, he looked at the small bottle from Jiraiya's hand. If I remember correctly, Gaara is the one-tailed Jinchuriki of the Sand Village. What's going on? The Akatsuki organization took action. It's not clear at the moment, but they're highly suspected. Then what are you going to do? Putting down the small bottle, Orochimaru looked at Jiraiya with a smile on his face. There are still a few days before Yahayako's clone matures. A few days later, when Yahayako is resurrected and finds that his two friends are on the opposite side of his former teacher, what kind of mood will he be in? As for Jiraiya, will he send Yahayako back to the dangerous rain village or leave him in Konoha? Orochimaru is very interested in this. What should we do? Just do what we should do. I can't just not do it because the matter is difficult. It's not my style to avoid the problem. A simple solution may also have a miraculous effect. So, we must do it. You can see what I will do when the time comes. Everyone looked at Jiraiya, who was talking nonsense in silence. It was as if he didn't say anything. Of course, they could understand Jiraiya's mood at this time. Especially Minato. Even if he knew that Obito was the culprit of the Nine-Tails rebellion, he still couldn't kill Obito. Even Kushina only quarreled fiercely. If she really faced Obito, she would probably just beat him seriously. Well, the kind that can't get out of bed for 3 months, and she probably wouldn't really kill him. Teacher, the death row prisoner is here. Thank you for your hard work, Minato. It's not hard. Minato smiled brightly and handed the death row prisoner to Orochimaru. Orochimaru did not hesitate and immediately began to use the Impure World reincarnation. After a while, Gaara's Impure World reincarnation appeared in front of everyone. TSK, he is really dead. Orochimaru smiled frivolously and then began to awaken Gaara's consciousness. This is Naruto? Gaara was still a little confused when he opened his eyes. Looking at the people in front of him, he still saw the yellow-haired man who was destined to be entangled with him. It's me, Gaara, tell us what happened and why you died. Hearing this, Gaara, who was still confused, woke up instantly. I see, I'm dead. His memory was still stuck at the moment when Kizum forcibly woke him up and then Black Zetsu knocked him unconscious again. Later, when Akatsuki used the 9 sealings of the illusionary dragon on him to seal the one tail, he was in a coma and didn't know what happened. Yes, you are dead, so can you tell us? How did you die? Hearing Jiraiya's words, Gaara nodded and began to tell what happened that day. Blah, 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 this is what happened. You mean, you were killed by a shark-faced man wearing a black-bottomed red cloud robe, holding around machete, and using water escape very well? I shouldn't have died at the time, I was just unconscious. Well, I roughly understand. Then can you tell me who that shark-faced man is? Well, if I'm not mistaken, this shark-faced man should be Kizum from Akatsuki. Akatsuki? Hearing this organization, Gaara immediately reacted. Is it the organization that Naruto reminded me to be careful of Todora? Yes. In other words, the target of this organization is the One Tail, not me. You can say that. Okay, I understand. The next thing is easy. Jiraiya arranged for someone to inform the Sand Village about Gaara's situation. He also sent a communication frog to the Rain Village to find Tendo Pain. Inform him to come to Konoha in a few days to witness Yahayako's resurrection. I just don't know if Nagato will come. Chapter 212. Nagato. Raikage. Tell me where the two-tailed Jinchuriki is. Of course Nagato would not go to Konoha. Black Zetsu asked Kizum to capture Gaara, which was the first shot in the capture of the tailed beasts. Given the relationship between Sand Village and Konoha, Konoha could not possibly not know that Gaara had disappeared. His teacher Jiraiya was not an idiot, and a little analysis would lead to the conclusion that this matter must have been done by the Akatsuki organization. Rather than going to Konoha and making things difficult for teacher Jiraiya, it would be better not to go. Besides, he was about to leave for the Land of Lightning and had no time to go to Konoha. Go back and tell teacher Jiraiya that I have something to do recently and it is not convenient for me to go to Konoha. Okay, I will inform Master Jiraiya. A puff of smoke appeared, and the communication frog had left. Nagato turned to look at Konan and said, let's go to the Hidden Cloud Village. Konan looked at Nagato with some concern, and the corners of her mouth moved slightly as if she wanted to say something, but in the end she didn't say it, and just replied, okay. The Land of Lightning, the Hidden Cloud Village. After the Third Hokage was killed by a large number of ninjas from the Uegaku village, the village inevitably began to go downhill. Fortunately, the Third Hokage had a good son. Under the leadership of his son, the Fourth Hokage, many resources were extorted from the surrounding areas through violent means including but not limited to intimidation, coercion, and threats. Even Konoha was not spared, and at the cost of Yugahizashi's life, the oppression of the Cloud Village was resolved. Through these means, we can see what kind of style the Cloud Village is now under the leadership of the Fourth Hokage. Bang in the Hokage's office, the Fourth Hokage smashed another desk very irritably. This is the fifth desk he has smashed in the past 2 days. What does the Sand Village want to do? Do you think that you can fight against our Cloud Village by holding on to Konoha's thigh? It's no wonder A is so angry. As Jiraiya reported Gaara's affairs back to the Sand Village, Kyo thought that with the current strength of the village, it really couldn't stand a little bossing. In order to protect himself and to make Konoha accept his kindness so that he can revive his son and daughter-in-law, Kyo can only choose to tie the Sand Village to the Konoha battleship. Since he got the news, Ai's already irritable temper has become even more irritable. Don't be angry, Hokage-sama. In my opinion, this should be a good thing. How do you say that? Satnoi smiled confidently and said, this shows that our Cloud and Rock alliance has already forced Konoha to a certain extent. Otherwise, with Konoha's pride, would it seek external assistance? After hearing this, Ai nodded in agreement. What you said makes sense. So, notify Yofunuki and ask them to increase the remuneration fees of the underground gold exchange office. They must force Konoha's resurrection secret technique out. This may be a bit difficult. The third Hokage is not our subordinate. Will he increase the fees if we ask him to? If he doesn't agree, threaten him. How to threaten him? Threaten Othnuki by joining Konoha to fight against Iwagaku. I think he will agree. Hokage-sama is wise. I will report to Iwagaku village right away. Satnoi received the order and was about to leave the office. At this moment, Derry, who was called the second right hand by the fourth Hokage, walked in with a serious face. What's wrong, Derry? Someone is killing people in the village. Who is it? Ai jumped up from the sofa and looked at Derry with anger. I don't know him. Come on, let's go and take a look. He left as soon as he said he would. The fourth Hokage led Derry and Marbai to the rooftop of the Hokage office building. Boom. Before Derry could point out the direction to Wei, an explosion sounded from the left front. Immediately afterwards, a huge two-headed hellhound, a one-horned rhino with hard skin, and a strange bird flying in the sky appeared in front of the three people on the right. Marbai, go and sound the alarm, there is an enemy invasion. Just now, when Derry said that someone was killing people in the village, I thought he had encountered a psychopath. Although he was angry, he didn't take it seriously. But now even a large summoning beast was used, and he knew it is bad that there was an enemy invasion. Who is it? Who is invading our hidden Cloud Village? Standing on the rooftop, watching the explosions and screams coming from the front, Ai was so angry that he was about to burst into flames. Lord Hokage. Speak. After a while, Ai's left hand 11 came to the rooftop and began to report the current situation to the fourth Hokage. The enemy that appeared in the village seems to be the Akatsuki organization mentioned by the third Hokage. Akatsuki organization? Is it the mercenary organization composed of all rebel ninjas? Why would they attack our village? 11 shook his head and replied, I don't know why they attacked the village. I only know that they seem to be looking for Yakito. Huh. Why are they looking for Yakito? Could it be that she offended the Akatsuki organization outside, so the other party came to the village to seek revenge? I don't know about this. Okay, you go find Yakito and ask him about the situation first. I will go to meet these rebel ninjas now. Hokage-sama, the strength of the Akatsuki organization is not bad. It's too dangerous for you to go. 11, I'm the Hokage. No kid will let the village fall into crisis. Besides, killing so many of our Kamigaku people, this matter cannot be resolved peacefully. After saying that, the fourth Hokage no longer paid attention to 11, turned around and jumped down from the rooftop. Boom, the smoke dissipated, Ai landed safely, found the direction of an enemy and rushed over. Heavy flow facing the human way, Ai had no interest in talking to get information, and directly made a fatal move. A large amount of lightning chakra was concentrated on Ai's elbow, rushing towards the human way at an extremely fast speed. The human way did not react and was knocked out by Ai on the spot. A large amount of smoke appeared as the human way was knocked out. Ai was very confident in his move. Even his younger brother Killer B would spit blood if he was hit by such a blow. Not to mention, he hit the enemy's heart. A normal person would probably just wait for death after being hit like this. But the human way is not a normal person, he can be said to be not a person. So, when the smoke dissipated, seeing the human way standing there unscathed and looking at him, Ai thought for a while that he was in an illusion. Impossible, why are you not hurt at all? Raikage. Tell me where the two-tailed Jinchuriki is. The human way ignored Ai's surprise, but asked the two-tailed Jinchuriki expressionlessly. Damn it, dare to underestimate me. Ai shouted and concentrated the lightning chakra on his feet. This made him reach an extremely fast speed, and in the blink of an eye he was in front of Rin Jiandao. Elation's wrathful thunder axe bang. A powerful kick hit Rin Jiandao in the face. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 213 AI. Have you ever been to the hospital? It can be said that this kid was an extremely angry one from AI. He had never been looked down upon like this before. AI had gathered all his lightning chakra, and he had no backup plan. His fighting style was just like his personality, which was full of recklessness. Bang! A powerful kick hit the face of Rin Jiandao. In just a moment, Rin Jiandao's head was blown up by the Raikage. TSK dare to look down on me with just this little strength. Standing in place, AI looked at Rin Jiandao, whose head was blown up, and a disdainful smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Lord Raikage, the east side of the village can't hold out. Just as AI breathed a sigh of relief and was about to leave for other battlefields, an Anbu ninja brought him urgent military information. Organize some middle and lower ninjas on the spot, and let them try their best to cover the villagers to take refuge in the shelter. Yes, Lord Raikage. The Anbu ninja took the order and left, and AI did not stay in place, and immediately began to rush to the battlefield in the east. What he didn't know was that not long after he left, an old man with an old face and a decayed aura stood in front of Rin Jiandao. The man was Jikakudo Danzo. Reincarnation Jikakudo put his hands together and summoned Yama. Yama opened his mouth and stretched out a long purple tongue with hands, and put the headless Rin Jiandao in some brain tissue into his mouth. After chewing, Rin Jiandao, whose head had just been kicked by AI, was successfully resurrected. Damn it, these people from Akatsuki deserve to die. AI, who was rushing to the east of the village, looked anxious and angry. Along the way, he saw many corpses. There were civilians and ninjas. Asshole, go to hell. As soon as he arrived at the battlefield, AI saw a handsome guy with circle eyes beating AI. While beating, he asked, speak or not, speak or not. AI didn't expect that with AI's strength, he would be beaten by the man in front of him. In order to save AI and kill him, he gathered his lightning chakra in his hand without thinking, and then jumped towards him. Lightning level Kyo dance. This move can barely be regarded as AI's ultimate move. When he was young, he used this move to cut off the left corner of the eight tails with one hand. In the original work, he also used this move to split Uchiha Madara's initial form of Susanoo in the Fourth War. This shows how powerful this move is. According to the strength of the human way, as long as the man in front of him is hit by such a blow, he will definitely be split in half. Unfortunately, facing AI's strong caress, the circle-eyed handsome guy refused. Shinra Tensei. In an instant, a repulsive force spread out from the side of Tendo Pain to the surroundings. Derry, who was not prepared, was directly blown away. AI in the air still wanted to use brute force to counter this repulsive force, but after a stalemate of 2 seconds, he still failed. Tendo Pain's Shinra Tensei was very powerful. When Derry and AI were knocked away, they also collapsed several houses around them. AI had a good physique, so he was not injured. Derry was a big miserable. Not only was he vomiting blood from his mouth, but he was also bleeding from his head. Derry, go down and treat your injuries first. Don't let yourself be killed by the enemy but bleed to death. Also, notify the surrounding ninjas and ask them to support other places. Boss, do you want to fight him in a one-on-one duel? This guy is not someone you can deal with. With just one move, AI judged that the strength of the man in front of him was very strong. If he fought with the opponent, Derry and his men would not only not help him, but would also hinder him. Understood, boss, I'll let them go now. Tendo Pain watched Derry's death and did not stop him. He had asked Derry for so long just now, but Derry did not reveal where the two-tailed Jinchuriki was. The other Kamugaku ninjas in Pain's place were similar. None of them had revealed the whereabouts of the two-tailed Jinchuriki to him. Originally, Human Path could extract the souls of others and read the memories in them, but his luck was not good. He read the memories of 3 ninjas in a row, but none of them had any information about the two-tailed Jinchuriki. When he was about to find that fourth person, AI came and kicked his head. Now, the Raikage is right in front of him. Instead of taking the trouble to read the memories of each one, it is better to catch the Raikage and read his memory. What do you want to do in the Akatsuki organization? And who are you? Seeing that Derry and the surrounding ninjas had left, and the strength of the man in front of him was not something he could take down in a short time. At this time, AI was thinking about obtaining information. Our goal is very simple, which is the two-tailed Jinchuriki. As for me, you can call me Kamisama, God. AI was silent for a while, ignoring the second half of what Tendo Pain said. I can't possibly tell you where Akito is. We in the Hidden Cloud Village have never betrayed our companions. When facing a life or death crisis, it's okay to make an exception. Still not telling. It doesn't matter, as long as I catch you. Want to catch me? That depends on whether you have the ability to do so. Adhering to the principle of striking first and then suffering later. AI's lightning shape could burst out, raised his fist, and in an instant he came in front of Tendo Pain. Raido Ninjutsu. He used this move against Minato during the Third Ninja World War. Unfortunately, Minato's reflexes were simply against the sky, and he used Flying Thunder God to dodge AI's attack. Nagato's reflexes were also very strong, but Tendo Pain didn't have a ninjutsu that could teleport. It was too late to use Shinra Tensei. Tendo Pain could only bear the blow. Bang! After punching Tendo Pain away, AI's expression did not relax. Because he felt that the touch from his hand was a little wrong. The fist hitting Tendo Pain's face was like hitting a piece of steel instead of a human face. Well, AI's feeling was not wrong. Tendo Pain's physical strength was not comparable to other paints. In the original work, Naruto, who had transformed into a tailed beast, beat Tendo Pain in a brutal way, but Tendo was still fine. It was just a punch, just a little bit of water. What kind of monster are you? Why are you so stubborn? I just said, I'm a god. If AI didn't know that the man in front of him was the villain who attacked the village, he really didn't want to care about him. If it got out, he was the fourth generation Raikage of the Hidden Cloud Village, and he was arguing with a psychopath. How would the people in the village look at him? He is not the director of a mental hospital. It's not his job for him to do. How would the people in the ninja villages of Iwagaku, Konoha, Mist Village, Sand Village look at him? Have you been to the hospital? Tendo Pain. Chapter 214. Feel the pain. Tendo Pain was confused by what Raikage AI said. He frowned and asked, what do you mean? AI pointed to his head and said, why don't you go to the hospital? There must be something wrong with you. Tendo Pain understood now. AI was saying that he had a problem with his head. Tendo Pain was not angry. He just looked at AI with pity and said, for things that they don't understand and are beyond their own understanding, mortals will only subconsciously reject and deny them. Hearing this, AI was a little confused again. What do you mean? It's very simple. I said I'm a god. This is an indisputable fact, but you attributed me to a mentally ill person with a problem in the brain. TSK, the wisdom of mortals can never understand the power of God. He sighed and held his forehead. Even if it was for the purpose of collecting intelligence, AI didn't want to talk to the other party anymore. Coincidentally, Tendo Pain didn't want to say anything more. According to the shared vision of the Rinnegan, the two-tailed Jinchuriki Akito himself was found in the animal path. She seemed very dissatisfied with the village's order to hide, and ran out alone to kill many summoned beasts of the animal path. Facing the two-tailed Jinchuriki, a single animal path cannot deal with it. Nagato, who secretly controlled the 6 paths, had already controlled the other 4 paths except the heavenly path to rush over to help. At the heavenly path, Nagato did not want to continue to entangle with the Raikage AI. The key was to catch the two-tailed Jinchuriki as soon as possible. However, Heavenly Path Pain wanted to escape, but the Raikage AI did not allow it. You want to run? AI noticed that Heavenly Path Pain wanted to leave this place, although he did not know why, but he did not want to let the other party have his way. Hectares! AI shouted loudly, and a sharp lightning flashed all over his body. This is the secret of the Hidden Cloud Village, the lightning chakra mode. Don't think about running. After turning on the lightning chakra mode, AI's speed, strength and defense were greatly enhanced. The only disadvantage is that the consumption of chakra is a bit high. But AI didn't care. He had no intention of prolonging the battle. To deal with such a big villain, we should fight quickly and send them to hell as quickly as possible. Shinra Tensei. Unfortunately, this time, Tendo Pain was prepared. Facing AI's full strength attack, he used Shinra Tensei without thinking. This time, just like last time, AI was still struggling with this repulsive force. The good news is that this time he lasted for 5 seconds. The bad news is that he was still blown away. So weak. Tendo Pain complained and turned around to rush to the animal path. What he didn't expect was that when he turned around, AI, who was still in the air, forced himself to stop, and then used a flash body technique that could rival the speed of Minato Nameke's. "Who are you calling weak?" AI roared, clasped his hands together, and smashed hard on Tendo Pain's head, who hadn't reacted yet. Bang! Dust filled the air with one blow. A small pit was also smashed into the ground by this blow. AI was confident that this punch would definitely kill the opponent. "What's wrong with saying you're weak? Do you know where the Akatsuki organization got its name?" "Forget it, there's no point in telling you this." However, with the sound coming out of the pit, AI knew that his move had not killed the other party. Not only did it not kill the other party, it seemed to make the other party even more nervous. The dust settled, the smoke dissipated, and Tendo Pain stood in a small pit unscathed. AI saw clearly that the other party's hair was not messed up. Damn, is this really a person? Shaking his head, AI forced the extra thoughts out of his mind. Now is not the time to think about it. Tendo Pain took a deep look at Raikage AI. He didn't want to continue to tangle with the other party. The commotion in the Hidden Cloud Village was so loud, it would be bad if the Eight-Tails Jinchuuriki was attracted. It's not that Pain is afraid of the Eight-Tails, but he is afraid that he will kill the Eight-Tails if he is not careful. That guy's Zetsu, there can't be a substitute for the Eight-Tails, right? Since you insist on stopping me, then I will let you feel a little pain, so that you know that God cannot be offended. AI instinctively felt that something was wrong. It is said that mental patients have broad thinking. As a normal person, he really cannot understand the brain circuit of Tendo Pain. Let him feel pain. So many people died in the Hidden Cloud Village. AI said that he was in enough pain. Again, no matter what the other party wants to do, he must stop the other party. After figuring this out, AI immediately launched an attack on Tendo Pain again. But this time, his attack failed. It was not because Shinra Tensei bounced him away, but because Tendo Pain flew up. "Tendo, are you stupid? I can fly. How many floors does a bag of rice have to be carried? Feel the pain. A bag of rice has to be carried to the 2nd floor. Consider the pain. I'll give you more for a bag of rice. Accept the pain. I'll wash a bag of rice. Understand the pain. I've washed so much mud for a bag of rice." A person who doesn't understand pain. As pain flew higher and higher, Raikage's ominous premonition became stronger and stronger. He had no way to deal with pain flying high in the sky, so he could only roar. "What the hell are you doing, you lunatic? You said you want me to feel pain, but I felt enough pain. I don't need to feel pain anymore." Pain ignored AI, and continued to speak his lines as he rose higher. "With that bunch of black kids, digging gravel, you can't understand true peace. Every grain of rice has mud. From now on who will give you a bag of rice? Let the world feel pain." At this point, Pain raised his hands high, and his tone became sharp. "Okay, add water." Shinra Tensei, in an instant, a repulsive force that was dozens or hundreds of times stronger than the ordinary Shinra Tensei began to surge towards the Hidden Cloud Village with Tendo Pain as the center. Under the effect of the super strong repulsive force, even the ground was overturned, let alone buildings. Everything is rubbish in front of this Shinra Tensei. Faced with such a powerful Shinra Tensei, Raikage could do nothing but watch his village being destroyed. No. Konan and Nagato are hiding in the woods not far from the Hidden Cloud Village. The power of this Shinra Tensei was so great that Nagato, who was already in poor health, had a nosebleed. Seeing this, Konan was quite worried. "It's okay, I can still hold on." After taking a few breaths and feeling a little better, Nagato smiled and asked Konan, "I wonder if Jiraiya-sensei will be satisfied with my reward." "I'm afraid Jiraiya-sensei will be shocked." Konan didn't know what Nagato and Jiraiya talked about specifically, so she didn't know how well Jiraiya knew about Nagato and the Akatsuki organization. Nagato did have a vague idea of how well Jiraiya knew about the Akatsuki organization and him. It was just that this was the first time he had used a Shinra Tensei of such great power. Even Jiraiya-sensei would probably be shocked after learning about the Kamugaku. "Konan, pack up, we can leave now." Did the two tails get caught? In the face of the power of God, she has nowhere to escape. Chapter 215 The Miserable Cloud Village. After successfully capturing the two-tailed Jinchuriki, Nagato and Konan left the Land of Lightning and returned to the Hidden Rain Village. Before they came, the Hidden Cloud Village was one of the 5 major ninja villages in the ninja world. In terms of comprehensive strength, Konoha before the Light Curtain appeared was not as strong as the Hidden Cloud Village. But such a strong village was directly turned into ruins under Nagato's full-power Shinra Tensei. Shaking his head, AI struggled to pull out the construction waste stuck on him. It's said that AI has a good physique. He was in the center of the Shinra Tensei outbreak, but he didn't die. Of course, his physical condition at this time was not very good. Conservatively estimated, at least 4 ribs were broken, and his internal organs were also damaged to varying degrees. Fortunately, these injuries can be recovered through later training, which is also a blessing in disguise. "Boss, how are you?" Derry's voice came from far to near. AI glanced at the other party and replied weakly, "I'm not dead yet." Hearing this, Derry immediately breathed a sigh of relief. The boss is the backbone of the group. They believe that as long as the boss is alive, no matter what kind of difficulties they can get through. "How are you?" AI remembered that Derry was already seriously injured before the disaster broke out. After being hit by tendo pain, his injuries must have worsened. "I was lucky. When the enemy used that exaggerated ninjutsu, there was an underground shelter next to me. Fortunately, our underground shelter was dug deep enough, otherwise you might not have seen me." As he said that, Derry's hands were not idle. He was also cleaning up that construction waste stuck on AI. Time passed slowly. When AI and Derry had almost cleaned up the garbage, AI also came out of the garbage dump. A group of ninjas who survived the disaster had spontaneously gathered around them. "Don't delay around me. Those who were too seriously injured should find a place to rest quickly, and those who were not seriously injured should participate in the rescue." "Yes, Lord Raikage." The ninjas left, and Derry also followed the group to rescue. AI did not go to rescue, firstly because his injuries were quite serious, and rash actions would aggravate his injuries. Secondly, it was because he needed some time to think. Thinking about what to do next for the Hidden Cloud Village. AI climbed up to a ruined building on a higher ground with his hands and feet. What the hell, looking around, ruins were everywhere. This was the edge of that village. And in the center of the village, it had become an extremely huge pit. Damn it. A tear unconsciously passed down AI's cheek from the corner of his eye. This was the first time he cried after attending the funeral of the Third Hokage AI. "Is this the pain you want me to feel? This is so fucking painful, bastard." With his fists clenched, AI was very angry at the moment. There was anger towards the enemy, and also towards himself. But AI was not consumed by anger. Looking at the miserable things around him, he seemed very calm. This was not consistent with his reckless character before. I don't know if Kamugaku will still be one of the 5 major ninja villages after this incident. The Sand Village is weak enough. The only high-end combat force that the whole village can show off is Kyo, whose half-body is almost buried in the ground. But even so, the Sand Village can still squeeze into the 5 major ninja villages with a large number of lower, middle and upper ninjas. Its overall strength is not comparable to that of small ninja villages such as Kusajikura and Takagaku. But the current Kamagakura is different. The Kamagakura is not short of high-end combat forces, and the village also has the 4th Hokage and the 8-tailed Jinchuriki to keep the place. But what about the others? The number of deaths of the upper, middle and lower ninjas is not small. Not to mention the deaths of a large number of civilians. The whole village was also reduced to ruins. I don't know how much time and money it will take just to rebuild it. If other ninja villages know about the Kamagaku, will they take advantage of the situation? Apart from anything else, Othnuki is not an easy person to deal with. If the operation is not done well, the Hidden Cloud Village may be removed from the list of the 5 major ninja villages and become a small ninja village. Brother, how did the village become like this? What happened? At this time, Killer Bee returned successfully from Turtle Island and came to AI's side. It can be seen that Killer Bee's expression is very serious. So serious that he didn't even say his favorite rap. It's very simple. The village was invaded by the Akatsuki organization. Everything here was done by the Akatsuki organization. The people of this organization are so strong. Killer Bee did not doubt AI's words. He was just very curious about what kind of ninjutsu the enemy used to destroy the Hidden Cloud Village like this. Gyuki, this is much more powerful than your tailed beast ball. Since the Hidden Cloud Village is so miserable, I won't bother with you. In Killer Bee's body, The eight-tailed Gyuki expressed sympathy and happiness for the experience of the Hidden Cloud Village. Although he and Killer Bee have become true partners, he still hates the Hidden Cloud Village. But no matter how much he hates it, he will still tell Killer Bee what he should say. What happened to the Hidden Cloud Village reminded me of some bad things. Yo, talk to me quickly, oh you asshole. At this time, Killer Bee, whose mood had calmed down a lot, began to speak like a rap again. In response, Uchiha rolled his eyes lightly, and continued to say after showing contempt for Killer Bee. In my memory, only the old man Samsara has the ability to turn the Hidden Cloud Village into this. Based on observation, Uchiha knew that the Hidden Cloud Village should have been turned into this by repulsion. Coincidentally, he had seen the Six Paths Sage's repulsion and attraction in the past, and knew that these two forces were the power of the Samsara. However, this was the first time he had seen such a strong repulsion. Old man, who are you? Fool, son, grandson, kid? No, call me old man. Can you stop rapping that cracker rap all day long? It doesn't sound good at all. Be serious. No, you're just jealous. You're preventing me from getting into the swing of things. Follow my lead and rag together. If you keep talking nonsense like this, I won't say anything. Okay, Uncle Nyagi, I won't say anything anymore. It's your turn to speak. Nyagi sighed. He didn't know if he was blinded by greed. How could he become a partner with such a guy? He had to endure his extremely ugly rap every day. It was so annoying. When the Hidden Cloud Village was in trouble, in the laboratory in Konoha, Jiraiya was looking at the orange-haired man in front of him with a smile on his face. Welcome back. Yahiko. Chapter 216. Yahiko, do you want to know the truth? Teacher Jiraiya, am I truly resurrected? After being summoned by Orochimaru through the impure world reincarnation technique, Yahiko thought his teacher was fooling him when he heard that Jiraiya wanted to truly resurrect him. When he really felt that this body was a flesh and blood body, not an unconscious body like the impure world body, he realized that he was truly resurrected. Yes, Yahiko. How is it? How does it feel to be resurrected? Hearing this, Yahiko smiled slightly and replied, it feels great. After saying that, Yahiko suddenly realized something and immediately asked nervously, Teacher, can you tell me how long it has been since I died? It has been almost 10 years since you died. 10 years? Has it been so long? So how are Nagato and Konan? Yahiko's memory before his death was still stuck at the moment when they were ambushed by Hanzo of the Salamander and he committed suicide. At the time, they were facing a desperate situation, and Yahiko wanted to use his death in exchange for the right of Nagato and Konan to continue living. Yahiko was worried that Hanzo had no moral principles and would attack Nagato and Konan after he committed suicide. Don't worry, in a sense, Nagato and Konan are doing well. That's right. As the de facto ruler of the Hidden Rain Village and the leader of the first terrorist organization in the ninja world, Nagato is doing well in every sense. Well, except that he is a little weak. Really? Hearing that Nagato and Konan are doing well, Yahiko immediately relaxed. Why? Do you want to go back to the Hidden Rain Village to find Nagato and Konan? Jiraiya said this with a smile on his face. However, Orochimaru on the side knew that Jiraiya did not intend to let Yahiko return to the Hidden Rain Village at the moment. Judging from the current situation in the ninja world, the Akatsuki organization will soon become the center of public opinion. Going back to the Hidden Rain Village at this time will undoubtedly put Yahiko in danger. However, if Yahiko really made up his mind and determined to go back, Jiraiya would not stop him. Don't rush back to the Hidden Rain Village, wait until I have a good look around Konoha. Okay, let's go out first. After saying hello to Orochimaru, Jiraiya wanted to take Yahiko away from here. But when they wanted to leave, Orochimaru asked them to stay. Wait a minute. Orochimaru, do you have anything else to say? Orochimaru ignored Jiraiya's question and looked at Yahiko and asked, do you want to know why Hanzo ambushed you? Hearing this, Yahiko's brows frowned instantly. And Orochimaru hadn't finished speaking yet. Do you want to know who is behind this? Do you want to kill your real enemy with your own hands? Tell me, do you want to? Yahiko looked at Jiraiya and saw that his teacher just sighed and held his forehead, and did not mean to stop him, so he immediately replied, yes. What? I didn't hear you, tell me louder, do you want to? Yes, louder. Yes, very good, then I will fulfill your request. Orochimaru clapped his hands. Soon, Homeland, wearing a windbreaker, coldly placed an unconscious death row prisoner and Danzo's clone in front of Orochimaru, and then immediately left the laboratory. Jiraiya, tell Yahiko the truth of the matter. I'm going to revive Danzo. You really know how to find work for me. Jiraiya curled his lips. He had planned to tell Yahiko about these things later. Unexpectedly, Orochimaru played this without discussing it with him. Looking at Yahiko's serious face, Jiraiya said, "This is what happened." Here, Jiraiya was talking to Yahiko about what happened that year. Over there, Orochimaru had summoned Danzo through the impure world reincarnation technique. No way, come again. Just a glance at the clone on the ground, Danzo instantly understood what kind of situation he was in at the moment. No. You have killed me so many times, are you still not satisfied? I'm already dead, let the things in my life disappear into thin air, okay? Orochimaru, have you forgotten? I held you in my arms when you were a child. In order not to be tortured again and again, Danzo acted pitiful, weak and helpless, trying to persuade Orochimaru. But he forgot. Snakes are cold-blooded animals. How many times are you going to kill me before you give up? Orochimaru, you wolf cub, I should have killed you when you left the village. Where is Hiruzen? Where did that stinky monkey die? I'm Danzo Shimura, the leader of the root of the village. I have made contributions to Konoha, and I have shed blood for Konoha. You can't do this to me. Seeing that Orochimaru was unmoved, Danzo suddenly became excited and attracted the attention of Yahiko next to him. Unfortunately, it was in vain. The Danzo that Orochimaru came out of the impure world was the Danzo in the clone period. At this time, Danzo's strength was at most that of a genin. Therefore, even if Danzo did not cooperate with Orochimaru, Orochimaru could still forcibly extract his soul. No, Orochimaru, you can't do this. How can you bear to harm an old man? Orochimaru, you have no heart. Continuing to ignore Danzo's words, Orochimaru began to extract Danzo's soul seriously and carefully. This is what happened. In other words, Danzo is behind all these things. After listening to Jiraiya's words, Yahiko looked at Danzo lying on the ground with resentment. Jiraiya opened his mouth, looking like he wanted to say something but stopped. He wanted to say that in fact, the mastermind behind the scenes was not necessarily only Danzo. Obviously, Obito must have intervened in this matter. The first batch of Akatsuki members, except Nagato and Konan, all died. And each of them died unclearly. It was obvious that there was something fishy here. And Obito joined the Akatsuki at the time. It was precisely because Obito's appearance was too abrupt that Konan was very wary of him. After thinking about it, Jiraiya felt that it would be better not to tell Yahiko about these things. You can think so. Jiraiya's voice had just fallen, and Orochimaru had already put Danzo's soul into the clone. Wait. If I say these are all misunderstandings, do you believe it? As soon as he opened his eyes, Danzo saw Yahiko with flaming eyes. With a strong desire to survive, he said it was a misunderstanding, trying to deceive this suicidal idiot. Misunderstanding? I misunderstood you. Obviously, Danzo's deception plan failed. Next, he will face Yahiko's raging anger and cruel punishment. Chapter 217 Orochimaru. Danzo will take care of it. Today, the entire ninja circle of friends was flooded with the news of the destruction of the Hidden Cloud Village. When they first heard about this, almost everyone did not believe that the Hidden Cloud Village, which was ranked third and striving for second place in the ranking of the top 5 ninja villages, would be destroyed. They thought it must be a rumor, and it was the kind of rumor that was obviously false. Whoever believed it was stupid. As a result, when more and more people began to stand up and prove that the Hidden Cloud Village was indeed destroyed, those who did not believe it had to believe it. Bye, I will drive away these people who came to spy, and you continue to stay here to help. Okay, big brother, no problem, big brother, go and come back soon, big brother. You're crackerack, I really can't listen to a word. I left cursing. After 2 days of recuperation, his injuries were not healed, but it was no problem to scare these ninjas who came to investigate intelligence and fight a low-intensity battle. What a trouble. If he handled it the same way as before, he would not let any of these ninjas who came to investigate go. Either kill them all, or take them captive and take them to the mines, where they mine for the Hidden Cloud Village while waiting for their respective villages to pay for their redemption. But now it is different. The Hidden Cloud Village was destroyed, and the personnel losses were also heavy. In addition to the ninjas who have returned from outside the village one after another, the 3 levels of ninjas in the Hidden Cloud village now add up to less than 5,000 people. And among these less than 5,000 people, the genin accounted for 60%, the chunin accounted for 39%, and the jonin, only a pitiful 0.1%, not even 50 people. If AI and Killer Bee were removed, the Hidden Cloud village would really become a small ninja village. In such a serious situation, A had an extra layer of concerns when facing these exploratory ninjas. Forget it, if I meet ninjas from the other 4 major ninja villages, I can just knock them out. As for the ninjas from the small ninja villages, I did not take them seriously. No matter how destitute the Hidden Cloud village is, as long as he, the 4th generation Hokage, is there, he will not tolerate provocations from these small ninja villages. As it happened, I didn't walk far before he saw a group of Kusajaku ninjas. They were standing on a hillside, looking at something furtively. He's really looking for death. No problem, fuck him. What do you think about the destruction of Kamugaku? In the Hokage's office, the 5th generation Jiraiya waited until everyone had finished reading the intelligence in their hands before he spoke. Bunaki himself came out to confirm the authenticity of the news. It seems that it can't be false. The 3rd generation Hokage took a puff of cigarette and continued, do you know who did it? In the ninja world today, the only person who has the power to destroy Kamugaku is probably Nagato from the Akatsuki organization. Orochimaru is right. According to our intelligence personnel, a huge pit appeared in the center of Kamugaku. All the buildings in the village seemed to be pushed outward by something. On the edge of the village, a circular ring of building ruins was formed. This situation is very similar to the Konoha that appeared on the screen when reviewing the video of Danzo. Jiraiya shuddered when he thought of the Konoha in that video. Fortunately, what happened in the light curtain did not happen in Konoha, but in the Hidden Cloud village. If the situation did not allow it, Jiraiya really wanted to find AI, patted his shoulder and said, thank you for taking this disaster for our Konoha. AI. I'm very curious. The 3-tail is currently being resurrected. Even if they have sealed the 1-tail and the 2-tail, what about the 3-tail? Will they skip the 3-tail and capture the 4-tail directly? Or will they wait until the 3-tail is resurrected? I think it's more reliable to capture the 4-tail directly. Looking at Minato and Jiraiya who were talking, Orochimaru said, the Akatsuki organization sealed the tailed beasts just to obtain the chakra of the tailed beasts. Although the 3-tail is being resurrected, maybe the Akatsuki organization has an item containing the 3-tail chakra? It doesn't matter if the amount is small, as long as it is enough. I think this is why the Akatsuki organization started capturing the tailed beasts before the 3-tail is completely resurrected, because they have a substitute. Orochimaru is not talking nonsense. He has something with the chakra of the 8-tail. Back then, he set up a trap in the Hidden Cloud village to force the 8-tailed Jinchuriki to run away and transform. When the Hokage stopped the 8-tails and cut off one of his horns, Orochimaru took the opportunity to pluck some of the fragments of the 8-tailed horn. By now, he has cultivated these fragments to a height of more than 10 meters. The 8-tailed chakra contained in it is not a small amount. Whether the Akatsuki organization has a replacement for the 3-tails or not, it is best for us in Konoha not to be the first to stand out. Well, I agree with Jiraiya's point of view. Anyway, there are still 5-tailed beasts in front of the 9 tails, namely the 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4. Among them, the 4-tailed Jinchuriki and the 5-tailed Jinchuriki belong to the Hidden Rock village. Now it's the turn of the old guy of Nuki to be nervous. With the temper of the 4th Hokage, I don't think the Hidden Cloud village will give up. So, for now, it's best for us not to do anything and just wait for the development of the situation. Well, I agree. Just as Konoha was watching the changes in the situation, a message suddenly came from the Hidden Cloud village. The 4th Hokage wanted to convene the 5-Hokage conference in a month. It was obvious that I wanted the other 4 ninja villages to fight against the Akatsuki together. Zetsu and Nagato didn't care about this. They had already thought of this when they started to implement the plan to capture the tailed beasts. Among the 5 major ninja villages, only Konoha can bring pressure to the Akatsuki. The other 4 villages, whether it was the collapsed Kamugaku, the declining Sand village, or the Karigaku, which was entrenched overseas and was trying to eliminate the influence of the Blood Mist village and develop hard, and the Iwagaku, which was still quite powerful, were not a concern in Nagato's eyes. What he was most worried about was Konoha. Pain, I brought you something to replace the 3-tailed beast. After sealing the two-tailed Nikomata, only 2 days had passed, and Zetsu couldn't wait to find Pain, wanting to hurry up and seal the three-tailed beast's chakra into the outer path statue. Looking at the round stone on the ground, Nagato was quite speechless. You are too impatient. We have to be impatient. The 4th Hokage wants to convene the 5-Hokage conference. It seems that he is targeting us. If we don't hurry up, it may become very troublesome later. Nagato didn't care, but he had to consider Conan's situation. The loss of 3 days and 3 nights without sleep to seal the two-tail cannot be made up by resting for 2 days. I understand what you said, but as the leader of the organization, I need to be responsible for the members of the organization. I have just sealed the chakra of the two-tail and the three-tail. I'm afraid that Itachi will die suddenly. Zetsu. Pain, I seem to have hallucinations just now. I heard your words wrongly. Otherwise, can you repeat what you just said? Zetsu is numb. Be responsible for the members of the organization. Afraid of Itachi's sudden death. Hearing these reasons, Zetsu is a little skeptical. Is the person in front of him really Pain who says he is a god all day long, and not some neighborhood aunt? Anyway, I won't gather the members to continue sealing the three-tailed chakra in the next 2 days. Pain gave Zetsu a look of divine contempt, and at the same time rejected his request to let him say it again. This sphere is just a substitute for the three tails. It doesn't take 3 days and 3 nights to seal the chakra on it. It only takes 1 day and 1 night. That won't work either. Seeing that Pain was unmoved, Zetsu had no choice but to ask helplessly, then how long do you want to wait? Don't worry, I won't let you wait too long. 3 days, we will seal the three-tailed chakra after 3 days. Okay, then I'll wait for 3 days. Chapter 218. AI. I want to convene a meeting of the 5-Hokage. Today, the entire ninja circle of friends was flooded with the news of the destruction of the Hidden Cloud Village. When they first heard about this, almost everyone did not believe that the Hidden Cloud Village, which was ranked 3rd and striving for 2nd place in the ranking of the top 5 ninja villages, would be destroyed. They thought it must be a rumor, and it was the kind of rumor that was obviously false. Whoever believed it was stupid. As a result, when more and more people began to stand up and prove that the Hidden Cloud Village was indeed destroyed, those who did not believe it had to believe it. Bye, I will drive away these people who came to spy, and you continue to stay here to help. Okay, big brother, no problem, big brother, go and come back soon, big brother. You're crackerack, I really can't listen to a word. AI left cursing. After 2 days of recuperation, his injuries were not healed, but it was no problem to scare these ninjas who came to investigate intelligence and fight a low-intensity battle. What a trouble. If he handled it the same way as before, he would not let any of these ninjas who came to investigate go. Either kill them all, or take them captive and take them to the mines, where they mine for the Hidden Cloud Village while waiting for their respective villages to pay for their redemption. But now it is different. The Hidden Cloud Village was destroyed, and the personnel losses were also heavy. In addition to the ninjas who have returned from outside the village one after another, the 3 levels of ninjas in the Hidden Cloud Village now add up to less than 5,000 people. And among these less than 5,000 people, the genin accounted for 60%, the chunin accounted for 39%, and the jonin, only a pitiful 0.1%, not even 50 people. If AI and Killer Bee were removed, the Hidden Cloud Village would really become a small ninja village. In such a serious situation, AI had an extra layer of concerns when facing these exploratory ninjas. Forget it, if I meet ninjas from the other 4 major ninja villages, I can just knock them out. As for the ninjas from the small ninja villages, AI did not take them seriously. No matter how destitute the Hidden Cloud Village is, as long as he, the 4th generation Hokage, is there, he will not tolerate provocations from these small ninja villages. As it happened, AI didn't walk far before he saw a group of Kusajaku ninjas. They were standing on a hillside, looking at something furtively. He's really looking for death. No problem, fuck him. What do you think about the destruction of Kumogaku? In the Hokage's office, the 5th generation Jiraiya waited until everyone had finished reading the intelligence in their hands before he spoke. Unoki himself came out to confirm the authenticity of the news. It seems that it can't be false. The 3rd generation Hokage took a puff of cigarette and continued, do you know who did it? In the ninja world today, the only person who has the power to destroy Kumogaku is probably Nagato from the Akatsuki organization. Orochimaru is right. According to our intelligence personnel, a huge pit appeared in the center of Kumogaku. All the buildings in the village seemed to be pushed outward by something. On the edge of the village, a circular ring of building ruins was formed. This situation is very similar to the Konoha that appeared on the screen when reviewing the video of Danzo. Jiraiya shuddered when he thought of the Konoha in that video. Fortunately, what happened in the light curtain did not happen in Konoha, but in the hidden cloud village. If the situation did not allow it, Jiraiya really wanted to find AI, patted his shoulder and said, "Thank you for taking this disaster for our Konoha. AI. I'm very curious. The three-tail is currently being resurrected. Even if they have sealed the one-tail and the two-tail, what about the three-tail? Will they skip the three-tail and capture the four-tail directly? Or will they wait until the three-tail is resurrected? I think it's more reliable to capture the four-tail directly." Looking at Minato and Jiraiya who were talking, Orochimaru said, "The Akatsuki organization sealed the tailed beasts just to obtain the chakra of the tailed beasts. Although the three-tail is being resurrected, maybe the Akatsuki organization has an item containing the three-tail chakra? It doesn't matter if the amount is small, as long as it is enough. I think this is why the Akatsuki organization started capturing the tailed beasts before the three-tail is completely resurrected, because they have a substitute." Orochimaru is not talking nonsense. He has something with the chakra of the eight-tail. Back then, he set up a trap in the hidden cloud village to force the eight-tailed Jinchuriki to run away and transform. When the Raikage stopped the eight-tails and cut off one of his horns, Orochimaru took the opportunity to pluck some of the fragments of the eight-tailed horn. By now, he has cultivated these fragments to a height of more than 10 meters. The eight-tailed chakra contained in it is not a small amount. Whether the Akatsuki organization has a replacement for the three tails or not, it is best for us in Konoha not to be the first to stand out. Well, I agree with Jiraiya's point of view. Anyway, there are still 5-tailed beasts in front of the 9 tails, namely the 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4. Among them, the 4-tailed Jinchuriki and the 5-tailed Jinchuriki belong to the hidden rock village. Now it's the turn of the old guy of Nuki to be nervous. With the temper of the 4th Raikage, I don't think the hidden cloud village will give up. So, for now, it's best for us not to do anything and just wait for the development of the situation. Well, I agree. Just as Konoha was watching the changes in the situation, a message suddenly came from the hidden cloud village. The 4th Raikage I wanted to convene the 5-Kage conference in a month. It was obvious that I wanted the other 4 ninja villages to fight against the Akatsuki together. Zetsu and Nagato didn't care about this. They had already thought of this when they started to implement the plan to capture the tailed beasts. Among the 5 major ninja villages, only Konoha can bring pressure to the Akatsuki. The other 4 villages, whether it was the collapsed Kumogaku, the declining Sand village, or the Karigaku, which was entrenched overseas and was trying to eliminate the influence of the Blood Mist village and develop hard, and the Iwagaku, which was still quite powerful, were not a concern in Nagato's eyes. What he was most worried about was Konoha. "Pain, I brought you something to replace the 3-tailed beast." After sealing the 2-tailed Nikomata, only 2 days had passed, and Zetsu couldn't wait to find Pain, wanting to hurry up and seal the 3-tailed beast's chakra into the outer path statue. Looking at the round stone on the ground, Nagato was quite speechless. "You are too impatient. We have to be impatient. The 4th Raikage wants to convene the 5-Kage conference. It seems that he is targeting us. If we don't hurry up, it may become very troublesome later." Nagato didn't care, but he had to consider Konan's situation. The loss of 3 days and 3 nights without sleep to seal the 2-tail cannot be made up by resting for 2 days. I understand what you said, but as the leader of the organization, I need to be responsible for the members of the organization. I have just sealed the chakra of the 2-tail and the 3-tail. I'm afraid that Itachi will die suddenly. Zetsu. Pain, I seem to have hallucinations just now. I heard your words wrongly. Otherwise, can you repeat what you just said? Zetsu is numb. Be responsible for the members of the organization. Afraid of Itachi's sudden death. Hearing these reasons, Zetsu is a little skeptical. Is the person in front of him really Pain who says he is a god all day long, and not some neighborhood aunt? Anyway, I won't gather the members to continue sealing the 3-tailed chakra in the next 2 days. Pain gave Zetsu a look of divine contempt, and at the same time rejected his request to let him say it again. This sphere is just a substitute for the 3 tails. It doesn't take 3 days and 3 nights to seal the chakra on it. It only takes 1 day and 1 night. That won't work either. Seeing that Pain was unmoved, Zetsu had no choice but to ask helplessly. Then how long do you want to wait? Don't worry, I won't let you wait too long. 3 days, we will seal the three-tailed chakra after 3 days. Okay, then I'll wait for 3 days. Chapter 219 Bandit Raikage New video. The current situation in the ninja world is like the clouds in the sky, unpredictable. The previous second, the hidden cloud village was destroyed. The next second, in order to speed up the recovery of the village, the fourth generation Raikage began to organize people to go to several small countries around the land of lightning and start snatching people. For such shameless behavior of the hidden cloud village, the small ninja villages of the small countries basically have no room to resist. Not to mention that this action is still led by the Raikage, Killaby, Derry and other high-end combat forces of the hidden cloud village. Let alone resistance, the small ninja villages are not bad at all for not smiling and sending people to the other side. Faced with the robbery of the hidden cloud village, the small ninja villages chose to swallow their anger, but the daimyos of the small countries did not. They united and sent many official documents to the daimyos of the land of lightning, reprimanding the robber gang headed by the fourth generation Raikage AI, hoping that the daimyos of the land of lightning would return the population they'd plundered to them. After reading the documents sent by many daimyos of small countries, the daimyos of the land of lightning expressed their refusal. Daimyo of the land of lightning. Although what you said is very reasonable and well-founded, and I was very moved after reading it, please allow me to refuse. Daimyo of the small countries. Since the beginning of the village, the daimyo of the land of lightning has had a good relationship with the hidden cloud village. Well, to be precise, it is a good relationship with the Raikage of each period. Basically, as long as the Raikage says that he has no money, the daimyo of the land of lightning will immediately transfer the money without even asking. Because the daimyo of the land of lightning knows that the stronger the strength of his own ninja village, the more he will have a say when facing the daimyo of the other four major countries. For the support of a few daimyo of small countries, he gave up his good relationship with the Raikage. He would not do such a loss-making business. However, in private, he still found AI and asked him to stop a little, so as not to cause public anger. If the ninja villages of several small countries were united, there would still be a little trouble. Don't worry, Lord Daimyo, I know my limits. Well, just keep it in mind. After leaving the daimyo's mansion, AI turned around and started to rush towards the village. Even if the daimyo didn't say it, he had plans to stop. Although the hidden cloud village had been destroyed and many ninjas had been lost, it was like someone had cut off the aorta. Fortunately, the hidden cloud village has a good foundation after all. Compared with the ninja villages of small countries, it has a lot of foundation. As long as the personnel can be in place, it won't take long for the village to return to its peak. There are still many smart people among the civilians in the ninja world. After knowing that the hidden cloud village was plundering people everywhere at this time, in order to be able to join the hidden cloud village and have a relatively safe place to live in this dangerous ninja world, many civilians from small countries such as the Frost Country and the Grass Country, which are far away from the Lightning Country, began to rush to the Lightning Country. This is the most important reason why I took the initiative to give up plundering people. Akatsuki organization, I will definitely make you pay the price. Returning to the hidden cloud village, AI looked at the civilians and ninjas who were working hard and immediately made a harsh statement. 5-Kage conference. Don't let me down. Pain, what are you waiting for? Don't be impatient. In the hidden rain village, the Akatsuki base. Zetsu found Pain again and asked him to gather the members of the organization and start sealing the three-tailed chakra. How can I not be anxious? At this point, Zetsu seemed a little exasperated. What did you tell me last time? You said let me wait for 3 days, but what happened? 3 days later, there were another 3 days, and 3 days after 3 days, it's almost 10 days, leader. It's almost 10 days. That should be about right. This time, Pain did not make things difficult for Zetsu. Instead, he nodded and replied, don't worry, I'll contact them in a while. Okay, I'll trust you again. Turning and walking out of the base, the white Zetsu who possessed it immediately asked, he has lied to you so many times, and you still believe in him? Black Zetsu did not answer immediately, but asked in surprise, it's really rare, you can actually speak. I just don't like to talk, it doesn't mean I'm dumb. Black Zetsu knew that each white Zetsu had a different personality. The white Zetsu who possessed it didn't like to talk and was always silent, which was why Black Zetsu chose him. What if I don't believe him? He is the leader of Akatsuki after all. As soon as these words came out, White Zetsu laughed. Do you believe this? It doesn't matter whether I believe it or not, anyway, just make Nagato believe it. Konan, do you need to rest for a few days? No need, Nagato, that thing is over, I have recovered. Deep in the Akatsuki base, Pain found Konan who was making detonating attacks. Well, in that case, then you should prepare first, and start sealing the three-tailed chakra. Zeto is urging me again. Yes. Okay, I understand. Pain left, and after Konan notified everyone, he had to go and notify other members. Zeto is really getting more and more excessive. Looking at the piles of detonating attacks stacked on the production table, Konan's dissatisfaction with Tetsu also reached its peak. They come to work just every day, just like asking for our lives. If you don't know, you would think they are the leader of the organization. Don't give me a chance, or I will blow you up. No matter how the situation in the ninja world changes, Konoha is always peaceful. There is no way, being strong means you can do whatever you want. After knowing that Konoha has resurrected the Fourth Hokage and Konoha White Fang, others would be stupid enough to provoke Konoha. Even the Cloud and Rock alliances have failed. Who else can catch up with the strength of these two villages after joining forces? Well, except for Akatsuki. It's time for the monthly video inventory again. According to my inference, the videos counted this time are most likely related to Akatsuki. In the Hokage's office, Jiraiya pretended to analyze it first, and received a big roll of the eyes from everyone. This is almost a clear thing, do you still need to analyze it? I just don't know whether to count one person or two people like the last two issues. Currently, only Nagato and Konan have not been counted in the Akatsuki organization. I hope that this time we will count both of them together. After knowing the information, we can better deal with the war that may break out. Hearing this, Orochimaru glanced at Jiraiya who was speaking and said, "No. What's wrong? You forgot Zetsu and Obito? They are also members of the Akatsuki organization." Don't say it, don't say it. If it weren't for your reminder, I would have forgotten these two people. Jiraiya's expression was a little embarrassed. Because of Nohara Rin, Obito passed by Konoha some time ago to chat with Rin. However, since the resurrection of the Fourth Hokage and his wife and Hitachi Seikamo, he has never come back. There has been no news about Obito for a long time. As the Hokage, he is usually busy, so it is normal to ignore Obito. It's similar for Black Zetsu. This guy doesn't show up very often, and his presence is really too weak. Ahem. Let's not waste any more time. Let's watch the video first. As soon as Jiraiya finished speaking, a light screen appeared in front of everyone. Then, the sound of a tune-up also reached everyone's ears. Hi. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novel, as there you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 220, The 12th Character Review. Shonen. Hi, dear audience, I'm the new Tian. This issue continues our Akatsuki organization special. Let's talk about Konan and Nagato. Speaking of Konan, how did she get 600 billion detonating talismans? That's a long-standing joke. Jojo Xiao. 600 billion? At the beginning, the light screen gave everyone who watched the video a thunderous opening. 600 billion. This is too exaggerated. At this time, the screen showed the scene when Konan faced the masked man after Nagato's death. When the river water under the masked man's feet began to open like a curtain, revealing countless detonating talismans, everyone's eyes widened, as if they had seen a ghost. Minato, calculate quickly, how much of these 600 billion detonating talismans? Minato looked at Kushina, whose eyes were almost shining, sighed helplessly, and began to calculate. According to the calculation of the cheapest exploding talisman in the ninja world, 1 is 300 riyal, 100 million is 30 billion riyal, and 600 billion is 180 trillion riyal. With so many exploding talismans, they can't all be the worst tier, right? After hearing the number calculated by Minato, Home felt a little dizzy. So, the value of these 600 billion exploding talismans is much more than 180 trillion riyal. To be honest, Minato himself felt a little dizzy when he heard this number. How much money does the entire Konoha village have in a year? The total value of the exploding talismans in Konan's hands is enough to support all the ninjas in Konoha for more than 100 years without any income. This number is really exaggerated. Jiraiya, have you ever thought about letting Konan come to Konoha? After all, you're her teacher, and her friend Yohiko is also in Konoha now. You go and persuade her in person, maybe she will agree to let you go back to Konoha in a fit of excitement. On the side, the third Hokage immediately came up with an idea after knowing that Konan was so rich. Old man, I think you are dreaming. Jiraiya smiled disdainfully and continued, based on my understanding of Konan, she will never let Nagato stay in the Hidden Rain village alone. Besides, Yahiko has not joined Konoha, he will return to the Hidden Rain village sooner or later. TSK, this is such a pity. Yes. The people around also felt it was a pity. Don't get me wrong, they are not greedy for Konan's money. But when they thought that Konan, such a weak, cute and rich girl, might face a joint crusade from the 5 major countries, they couldn't help but sigh. Tobirama's office. Senju Tobirama, who had not appeared for a long time, saw the piles of detonating tags under the river, and instantly thought of a ninjutsu he knew, the jutsu of multiplying detonating tags. The core of his ninjutsu was actually the summoning technique, which allows a detonating tag to summon more detonating tags when it is detonated, thus triggering a chain explosion. He thought that his ninjutsu was already enough to ruin the family. Unexpectedly, there is always a stronger one among the strong, and there is always a higher one. Are all female ninjas in the future so cruel? One shot is 600 billion detonating tags. It's really terrifying. This little girl is really amazing. There are so many detonating tags. Even if I fall into them without any preparation, I will probably be blown to death. Looking at the detonating tags on the screen, Senju Hashirama couldn't help but feel a little cold. You know, after seeing the power of Dodara's self-explosion, he only said that he would be injured, and not seriously injured. Now listening to him say this, you can imagine how heavy these 600 billion detonating tags are. Well, it's important in every sense. Jiraiya, I've decided. In the back row, Tsunade's eyes sparkled, and she patted Jiraiya's shoulder, saying something that made him sweat. I've decided to give you a chance to pursue me. Huh. To be honest, Jiraiya really liked Tsunade, but when he thought of his occasionally empty wallet, he felt distressed and fortunate at the same time. He was glad that Tsunade didn't agree to be his girlfriend. Otherwise, his wallet wouldn't be empty occasionally, but often. Tsunade, you have to calm down, don't let money blind your eyes. Jiraiya knew it with his ass. The reason why Tsunade said this was because she had her eyes on Konan's 600 billion detonating tags. As for the fact that Konan hadn't been born in this time and space, this problem was not a big deal. After seeing such an exaggerated number of detonating tags, he didn't believe that the village would let Konan, who was outstanding in financial power, go. At the time, he would definitely let him go to the Hidden Rain village and accept Yahiko, Konan, and Nagato. Yes, Tsunade, what if Konan's detonating talisman was not made by her, but bought with money? Don't forget that Akatsuki has people who are responsible for making money. Yes, Orochimaru is right. Right. Little Tsunade rolled her eyes and continued, even if Kakuto is responsible for making money, I don't believe he can earn enough money to buy 600 billion detonating talismans. You're right. Little Orochimaru laughed and showed a helpless look to little Jiraiya. I suddenly remembered that Mito-sama has something to tell me. I'll go over there for a while. Little Jiraiya's trick of running away caught little Tsunade off guard. I have to say that although this trick is shameless and embarrassing, it is really practical. He can't control it, little Tsunade. Can't even Mito-sama control it. Little Jiraiya. From today on, Konan's detonating talisman will be protected by me. As a popular female character, the author has done a little work in the design. Light blue-purple hair, a small blue flower, orange-yellow eyes, a large light purple eyeshadow on the face, a lip stud under the lips, a navel-bearing sleeveless outfit under the employee uniform, and a ring on the navel. According to the author himself, this outfit was originally designed in an indescribable direction. I am very curious about this up, please send me a private message if you have the resources, thank you. In terms of appearance, it has also been criticized by the old driver Jiraiya. I didn't expect it, Jiraiya, I know you are lustful, but I didn't expect you to be this kind of person, and you even don't let go of your own disciples. The only one who can criticize the 5th generation Jiraiya is Uzumaki Kushina. Facing Kushina's angry tone, Jiraiya quickly waved his hands and said, I didn't, don't talk nonsense. After the 3 of them denied it, Jiraiya didn't stop talking and continued, I haven't seen Konan for more than 20 years. The last time I saw her was in the late World War II. She was only 9 years old at the time. Don't accuse me. Hearing this, Kushina realized that she was reckless. This made her feel a little embarrassed. Sorry. I misunderstood you. No, it's okay. Chapter 221 Shao. After the outbreak of the Second Ninja World War, Konan, who became an orphan, met Yahiko and saved Nagato, who fainted from hunger. The three orphans began to form a team to make a living. They said they were making a living, but in fact they spent most of their time stealing things everywhere. During the war, the Hidden Rain village was also in a difficult situation. In order to survive, they had no choice but to do so. One day, Yahiko premeditatedly begged for food from the three ninjas. After a full meal, Konan folded a flower with paper as a gift. Orochimaru was deeply moved and decided to kill Konan and others. Konan and the other two were stunned at the time. Konan, what's the matter? I just ate a little bit of your food. It's not a crime worthy of death. Fortunately, the three were saved by Jiraiya, otherwise they would not have seen the 600 billion detonating tags later. Laughs. In the following 3 years, Jiraiya lived with the three little ones and taught them how to use ninjutsu. It was during this period that Konan's paper ninjutsu took shape, and for convenience it was abbreviated to Paper Escape. In a battle test, Konan used a paper shuriken to fight against Jiraiya's shadow clone, and the three war orphans successfully graduated. After Jiraiya left, Konan followed the two men around him and founded the Akatsuki organization, a bridge of hope to world peace, in the Land of Rain. In this way, Konan and the other two became the original shareholders of the organization. So this is how Akatsuki was established. With a strange smile on his face, Orochimaru couldn't help but think, if he hadn't listened to Jiraiya's advice at the time and had killed the three people directly, what would the ninja world look like now? Yes, the original intention of the Akatsuki organization was to achieve peace. Looking at the light curtain, Jiraiya was also very emotional. He remembered the bits and pieces of his life with Nagato, Yahiko, and Konan during those 3 years. To be honest, compared to the days in Konoha, he enjoyed the days with the three little ones more. Staying with the three little ones, there is no pressure at all, and they get along very comfortably. If possible, he really wants to live with the three little ones for a longer time. Unfortunately, he is a Konoha ninja after all, and he is also a disciple of the third generation Hokage. At the same time, he also has his responsibilities, and he can't stay in the Rain Country forever. So, when he found that the three little ones had enough strength to protect themselves, he resolutely left. Fortunately, the war situation was gradually becoming clear at the time, and Konoha's victory was a foregone conclusion. Otherwise, let alone 3 years, he could stay for a year. Tell a joke. The current goal of the Akatsuki organization is also for peace. Orochimaru, don't tell such an outrageous joke in the future. The third generation Hokage doesn't believe that the current Akatsuki organization is also for peace. Judging from their previous trajectories and the pictures shown on the light screen, what point are they for peace? Old man, Orochimaru is not talking nonsense. Jiraiya held his forehead. The third generation Hokage didn't know, but he still knew something. When Tendo Pain came to Konoha to find him, he told him in person that everything Akatsuki did was to fulfill Yahiko's ideal, which is the so-called peace. It's just that Nagato and Jiraiya have very different ideas on the road to peace. The official members of Akatsuki are all rebels from various villages. They kill people, set fires, hatch tailed beasts, and destroy ninja villages. Now you tell me that they do this for the peace of the ninja world. I'm old, and I really can't accept these things. Not to mention that the third Hokage can't accept it, others can't accept it either. Among them, Uzumaki Naruto's reaction is the most intense. He will never agree with what the current Akatsuki does. According to the love and affection played in the original work and the animation, there is a feeling that when three people get along, everyone feels like a light bulb. In the end, it turned into that Yahiko hopes Nagato will be a bridge of peace, and he will be the pillar supporting the bridge. Later, Nagato also talked about Yahiko's pain all the time. Konan said that I should be at the bottom of the bridge, not on the top of the bridge. This wave is really a love nesting doll. Ahem, let's get back to the point. As the reputation of the Akatsuki organization rose, Hanzo, the leader of the Hidden Rain village, feared the future development of the organization, and colluded with Danzo to hold Konan hostage, which led to the death of Yahiko. After experiencing despair, Konan and the new leader of the organization, Nagato, depended on each other for survival. According to the advice of the masked man, the Akatsuki organization re-established the general direction of collecting tailed beasts and suppressing violence with violence, and recruited talented people. Sure enough, Obito's joining the Akatsuki organization was premeditated. Seeing the appearance of the masked man, Obito, on the light screen, the fifth generation Jiraiya confirmed his previous thoughts. In the conspiracy to murder the Akatsuki organization, the mastermind behind the scenes was not only Danzo, but also Obito. Then the question is, the capture of the tailed beast was proposed by Obito, so did Nagato know what the consequences of doing so would be? After seeing the 4 words suppressing violence with violence, everyone roughly understood why the Akatsuki organization wanted to capture the tailed beast. However, this suggestion was heard from Obito, and everyone knows that Obito is the successor of Uchiha Madara. No one believes that there is no conspiracy. Do you still remember the so-called Moon Eye project when you were counting Kism? Of course I remember. I still remember that you had a wild imagination and thought that something was sealed on the moon. After Orochimaru teased Jiraiya, he suddenly thought of something and looked at Jiraiya with a little surprise and continued, "You mean, the purpose of the Moon Eye project is to integrate the power of the 9-tailed beasts, break the moon, and release the sealed thing inside?" "Yes, that's what I mean." "Ha, your idea is not bad. Come and learn to cook with me." "No, come and be my assistant and help me do research together." Jiraiya did not agree to Orochimaru's nonsense idea. He is the Hokage of Konoha village. He must be crazy to be an assistant to Orochimaru. Besides, as an assistant to Orochimaru, can he see beautiful girls? Jiraiya really doesn't care about those oddballs who opened the second curse seal. "Jiraiya, do you think Nagato was deceived by Obito?" Looking at the third Hokage, Jiraiya nodded, "It's almost certain." In the game plot, Konan, with her paper escape technique, is not afraid of physical damage, and has many abilities such as flying and clones, and she defeated Scorpion, who had not yet transformed his body, without taking a breath. With the addition of new employees who were not interested in women, the shareholder Konan was demoted to a secretary beside Nagato. According to the official book, the pretty girl Konan beside Pain is respected by the villagers and is called an angel. Gossip. The pretty girl is also closely related to Kakuza, the financial officer of the organization. Laughs. There was an error after the previous chapter. The time when Jiraiya and the 3 little ones met was the second war, and I wrote it as the third war. It has been modified. Chapter 222. Konoha's tradition. This gossip is about the 600 billion detonating talismans. Tobirama's office. Everyone laughed when they heard this gossip. Rationally speaking, since Konan was able to use paper escape, even if she worked overtime every day to make detonating talismans, she probably couldn't make 600 billion. The only explanation is that she coveted the money earned by Kakuza. She used money to buy them while making them herself. In this way, the number of 600 billion is still outrageous. No matter how everyone looked at it, they all thought that this number was too exaggerated. It's just SHT. I don't know what Kakuza would think when he sees this. Hiruzen, are you talking about Kakuza from our time and space, or Kakuza from the Third Hokage? Of course it's the one from the Third Hokage. Our Konan was probably born not long ago, and she doesn't have the ability to cover Kakuza's money at the moment. He might be so angry that he will come back to life. Kakuza. So I worked so hard to make money just to let you buy more detonating talismans. Hiruzen, you're too mean, but I like it. Speaking of Kakuza from the Third Hokage, Hiruzen and several of his companions burst into laughter. They could imagine what kind of reaction Kakuza, who had a special feeling for money, would have after learning that Konan was such a spendthrift. That scene must have been very exciting. Many years later, Jiraiya sneaked into the Hidden Rain village to collect intelligence. Konan and Jiraiya met again, and both sides held their own opinions, and neither could convince the other. Since you can't convince with words, then you can only fight and use strength to speak. Unfortunately, Konan's paper style was perfectly restrained by Jiraiya's toad oil, and Jiraiya continued to attack and output, and it didn't take long for her to be defeated. After Nagato defeated Jiraiya, wait, what do you mean that after Nagato defeats me, I will die in Nagato's hands? The 5th generation Jiraiya widened his eyes and looked at the light curtain in disbelief. TSK, if the light curtain didn't appear, and the normal development continued, the old man would die in my hands, and I would be killed by Sasuke, this disciple, once again. Hearing this, Sasuke glanced at Orochimaru, but didn't say anything. Orochimaru ignored Sasuke and continued, Minato can be said to have died at the hands of Obito, and Jiraiya, you also died at the hands of your own disciples. So, is the feng shui of our Konoha bad? Why do we always have traitors who kill their masters? If this goes on, will killing the master become a tradition of our Konoha? The Third Hokage looked at Orochimaru with dissatisfaction and said, is it possible that killing the master started with you? Jiraiya nodded in agreement. That's right, Orochimaru, you are the source of all evil. Even if killing the master becomes a tradition of Konoha, it's because you set a bad precedent. You should commit suicide to apologize. Before Orochimaru could reply, the third Hokage jumped up excitedly and slapped Jiraiya on the head. What a fucking tradition. Konoha doesn't have a tradition of killing teachers. It didn't exist before, it doesn't exist now, and it definitely won't exist in the future. Yes, I was so angry at Orochimaru's shamelessness. Seeing that the third Hokage was a little angry, Jiraiya immediately apologized and put the blame on Orochimaru. If you hadn't asked, I wouldn't have agreed with you. Orochimaru said that he didn't take the blame and put the blame back on Jiraiya. I'm just too surprised. As he said that, Jiraiya touched the place where he was slapped by the third Hokage just now, and then his expression immediately became serious. It's all Danzo's fault. Orochimaru and others saw Jiraiya's serious expression and thought he was going to say something. The result is just like this. Is it really a blame to put it on Danzo? But if you really want to be serious, this matter can really be blamed on Danzo. If he hadn't had nothing to do and joined forces with Hanzo to kill Yahiko, maybe Nagato wouldn't have become like this. So, it's all Danzo's fault. Orochimaru. After watching the light screen, everyone go to my laboratory. Let's kill Danzo a few times to vent our anger. Jiraiya. Danzo didn't find a chance to kill you before. This is probably the thing he regrets most in his life. Orochimaru. Then will you go later? Jiraiya. Yes, why not? How can I be left out of something like killing Danzo? Orochimaru. Hehe. Man, after Nagato dealt with Jiraiya, Konan followed to Konoha to capture the nine-tailed Jinchuriki Uzumaki Naruto, and defeated many ordinary ninjas in Konoha. During this period, Konan was besieged by 4 elites of the Tobirama clan. The insects of the Tobirama can devour paper, but Konan is not afraid. She attacks with a paper clone equipped with a detonating talisman, and the paper is water-repellent paper, which can also resist fire escape when wet. After the Tobirama Shui dodged the explosion, she emphasized that Konan is a meticulous and difficult enemy. But in the end, Konan was called away by Nagato, and the fight was not over. When she learned that Nagato was going to use Shinra Tensei to demolish Konoha, she strongly opposed the use of this move that would shorten Nagato's lifespan, but she couldn't persuade Nagato. Until Pain and the others were defeated by Naruto and came to the door. Konan, who was guarding Nagato's body in the paper tree, watched the 2 children of prophecy kiss each other. In the end, Nagato couldn't kiss Naruto and agreed with Naruto's philosophy. He sacrificed himself and resurrected those who died in this battle. Konan was also moved by Naruto's persistence in yearning for peace. In addition to the relationship that they were both Jiraiya's disciples, Konan gave Naruto a bouquet of flowers of hope and entrusted Yahiko and Nagato's original dream to Naruto. With the remains of her companions, Konan returned to Yahin. As expected of you who has the title of the other Ten-Mouth, you can even talk the leader of Akatsuki to death. You're really something, Naruto. Hehe, I'm not that good either. Hearing Sasuke's praise for him, Naruto seemed very embarrassed. Okay, just think of it as me praising you. Sasuke covered his face. When he knew that Konan had 600 billion detonating tags, he thought it was outrageous. Now he saw on the light screen that Naruto talked the leader of Akatsuki to death. It's really outrageous to the extreme. As the leader of Akatsuki, where is your ideal? Where is your courage to become an enemy of the ninja world in order to fulfill Yahiko's dream? Did Naruto talk it all away? After watching so many episodes of the light screen video, Sasuke felt that the reason why he couldn't get along with most people was not because he was arrogant and cold. It was because he was not bullshit enough. Chapter 93 was inexplicably reviewed, and I was also convinced. Chapter 223 Shionen's death. After Nagato passed away, Konan was left alone. A few days later, she met Obito, who was trying to steal Nagato's Samsara. Except for the plot of the game, Konan's previous battles were just small fights, but the battle with Obito was the embodiment of the character's fighting style. In order to protect Nagato's body, Konan led Obito to a big river. By studying Obito's intelligence, Konan made sufficient preparations and activated the God Paper Art. The official book explains this move as, this ninjutsu can make up to 600 billion detonating tags transform into scenery, water, and the ground with such precision that even the Sharingan cannot see through it. In essence, this is a very advanced transformation technique, and there is no mention of the situation where 600 billion detonating tags can appear out of thin air with this move. It can be seen that Konan will make precise arrangements before the battle and is a meticulous ninja. One more thing to add, the ninjutsu that Konan can really use to make paper is called Shikigami no Mei, which can turn the body into paper. This paper can even be separated from the main body and used as a means of attack, such as clones. If 600 billion detonating attacks are Konan's final trump card, then there is a high possibility that she will lose in the battle with Obito. Looking at the confrontation between Konan and Obito on the light screen, Minato Namikaze did not think that Konan would win, even if she had 600 billion detonating attacks. Dad, why do you say that? Naruto's combat IQ is unquestionable, he is a genius. But now he is not in a battle, but in the Hokage's office. If he is not in a battle, everyone knows Naruto's IQ in daily life. The fourth Hokage means that Obito may use Kamui to dodge it. Behind him, Sasuke heard what Minato Namikaze said, and instantly thought of Kamui, the ability to put others or himself into another space. Sister Konan won't let Obito return to the Kamui space, right? You're right, but even if he doesn't return to the Kamui space, his ability to hollow out is enough to avoid the damage caused by the explosion of the detonating talisman. Hearing this, Naruto nodded first, then immediately shook his head and said, I don't believe that hundreds of billions of detonating talismans can't blow him up for 5 minutes. Obito's ability to hollow out Kamui has long been studied by everyone. Returning to the Kamui space requires the body to materialize. The ability to hollow out can only last for 5 minutes. In Naruto's opinion, a mere 5 minutes and so many detonating talismans are enough to last until Obito's hollowing is ineffective. Not bad. Sasuke pulled the corner of his mouth, praising and mocking. Do you remember that Obito's hollowing only lasts 5 minutes? Naruto shook his head, looking embarrassed after being praised. Hey. Sasuke. Hey, your sister, I'm not praising you. On the side, seeing their son's stupid look, Minato and Kushina looked at each other and sighed helplessly. They have tried their best to change Naruto's naive character. For this reason, they even let Naruto participate in the first slaughter tournament in order to break Naruto's naivety and let him know that the profession of ninja is very cruel. Now it seems that their actions have little effect. Don't smile foolishly, have you forgotten? We Uchiha family still have an ultimate eye technique. Are you talking about resurrection? It's not just resurrection, it's, at this point, Sasuke suddenly lost interest in talking, and just continued briefly. Just think of his energy as resurrection. Then according to what you said, Sasuke, doesn't Sister Konan definitely lose? That's not entirely true. Sasuke lost interest in talking, but Orochimaru spoke on behalf of Sasuke. After my careful calculations, if 600 billion detonating attacks are used sparingly, they can last for 20 minutes. As long as Konan doesn't waste them and leaves 300 billion detonating attacks without detonating them, even if Obito cannot be killed in the end, she can still test his energy and escape. Minato. It's a pity that Konan didn't know that Obito also knew his energy's eye technique that can change illusion and reality. In order to kill Obito, Konan will definitely use up all 600 billion detonating attacks at once. Orochimaru. Yes. Let's talk about the battle between Konan and Obito. In the first round, Konan took advantage of the number of pieces of paper and mixed in the detonating talisman at the moment when Obito absorbed her, trying to die together. Obito reacted in time. Although he absorbed a lot of damage from the explosion, he only had one arm and a quarter of his mask blown off. Konan's paper pieces floated in the air. Obito realized at this time that Konan was a veteran of the Akatsuki organization and was not so easy to deal with. However, for Obito, this level of Konan was just a little troublesome. Just at this time, when he thought Konan was at his wit's end, he was immediately trapped in the ocean of Konan's 600 billion detonating talismans. In crisis, Obito tried to absorb himself into the Kamui space, but his body would change into a physical entity during absorption, and the speed was slow. Konan next to him kept sticking detonating talismans on his body. Obito had to give up absorption and turn into a hollow to avoid the explosion. At this time, the hollow of the Kamui with one eye could only make Obito a real man for 5 minutes. And Konan's 600 billion detonating attacks can explode for a full 10 minutes. Obito had no choice but to use the Uchiha Forbidden technique, his energy, to turn the explosion into an illusion. Konan was unable to return to normal due to excessive consumption of the divine paper. The surviving Obito attacked Konan with an abandoned iron pipe, causing Konan to be seriously injured. At this time, the rain-hidden village, which had been raining for many years, cleared up and a rainbow appeared. Konan inherited the will of her companions and wanted to become Naruto's pillar of peace. She fought back with her remaining chakra until she was grabbed by Obito's neck and fell into an illusion. Obito learned the location of Nagato's body through the illusion, and Konan died. Konan still died at the hands of Obito. Seeing Konan's ending, Jiraiya was very sad. Especially she died at the hands of Obito, a ninja from the Uchiha clan who was born in Konoha. Speaking of the Uchiha clan, Jiraiya couldn't help but think of Danzo. Damn Danzo. The third Hokage, who knew his disciple's temperament well, knew that Jiraiya was blaming Danzo for Obito's problems. Jiraiya, Obito's problems don't seem to be blamed on Danzo, right? I don't care. Jiraiya was being shameless. He also knew that Obito's problems couldn't be blamed on Danzo, but he just wanted to put the blame on Danzo. Is there a problem? Orochimaru? Jiraiya turned his head and looked at Orochimaru fiercely, confusing Orochimaru. Why? I'm very angry now. What more, after the live screen video ends, I will revive Danzo twice more for you to kill. That's not enough, I want to fight 10. 10? Hearing this, Orochimaru did not refuse, but instead became thoughtful. It is known that the soul can be split. So, when reviving Danzo, what would happen if we actively split Danzo's soul into multiple parts, and then put these incomplete souls into clones? Would it be possible to revive multiple Danzos at the same time, or would it be impossible to revive any of them? Well, this topic is interesting and worth studying. Chapter 224. Shonen's Imagination. What a pity. Tobirama's office. Senju Tobirama also felt sorry for Konan's death. If she had learned her own multiplication of detonating tags, she would only need to summon a few detonating tags each time, and as long as they exploded continuously, so many detonating tags could consume Obito to death. Unfortunately, Konan did not know Senju Tobirama's multiplication of detonating tags. She could not make accurate calculations like Orochimaru and use detonating tags sparingly. She could only choose to let a large number of detonating tags explode at one time, so as to increase her tolerance rate. But she didn't know that there was such a ridiculous technique as Izanaji in the ninja world, which directly made her plan a joke. Jiraiya, why don't you let Konan become my disciple? Let her continue to follow you as fate has it. I always feel that it would be a waste of her talent. Little Jiraiya, who was staying next to Mito and avoiding the entanglement of little Tsunade, was stunned when he heard this. No, Nadami-sama, you can't do this. Little Jiraiya, regardless of everyone's surprised looks, hugged Tobirama's thighs directly, and began to cry with snot and tears. If you want to cry, just cry properly, don't take the opportunity to wipe your snot on my pants. Tobirama threw little Jiraiya out with disgust, telling him not to ruin his pants. His pants are a brand. Bangaloo. But he waited in line for 3 minutes to buy them. No, Nadami-sama, you are not attracted by Konan's wealth, are you? Tobirama, who had just wiped the snot on his pants, heard Jiraiya say this, and immediately turned his head to look at the light curtain. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Seeing the second-generation Hokage pretending to be stupid, Jiraiya did not compromise. He gave him a thumbs up and said with a hint of sarcasm, as expected of Tsunade's second grandfather, you two are simply cast in the same mold. Ahem, in fact, Tsunade is more like the eldest brother. Hey Senju Hashirama, a bystander, heard that his younger brother was talking about him, and he immediately got angry. Why do you have to involve me in your affairs with Jiraiya? Do you admit that Tsunade is more like you? This. It's all your fault that Tsunade became a gambler. How can you say that playing cards and gambling is harmful? Thinking of Tsunade's appearance when he taught her to play cards and gamble when she was a child, Hashirama's voice became smaller and smaller. But Tsunade's personality is not like Hashirama's. Sister-in-law, you. Tobirama looked at Mito, who was talking in surprise, as if he was very surprised by her words. Yes, when he was talking to his eldest brother Hashirama, sister-in-law Mito basically would not interrupt. Unexpectedly, this time, he was choked by his sister-in-law's words and couldn't refute. Yes. Hashirama heard this, his eyes lit up. If you say Tsunade is as fond of gambling as me, I can tolerate this, but in terms of personality, she is not like me. Humph, it seems that I have a bad temper. Who knows, maybe you were a repressed person. You are the repressed one. 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 You. The Senju brothers were quarreling with each other, and little Jiraiya couldn't get a word in. In this way, the matter about Konan was fooled by the tacit cooperation of the Senju brothers. Poor little Jiraiya, let us mourn for him. Amitabha, Infinite Heaven, Virgin Mary, Amen. During the Fourth Ninja War, Nagato and Itachi were resurrected together. As a wild man who couldn't be tamed by Konan, Nagato didn't mention Konan when he met Naruto, but Uchiha Itachi asked a few questions about Sasuke. As for the joke about Konan's 600 billion detonating talismans, in essence, these 600 billion are the product of the idiot author's exaggeration. If I have to make it up for this idiot author, I can actually bring it up with Kakuzu. We'll talk about this later. Next is the strength link that everyone likes to see. Konan herself is meticulous and has a strict deployment, and she doesn't fight a battle without preparation. But her combat effectiveness is not outstanding because Naruto is not a battle of wits. Otherwise, with Konan's deployment ability, Figuran would have to kowtow, and the scale of the explosion would make Dada lie down and call her sister. Konan is just contracting the toilet construction project of the ninja village, or wholesale toilet paper, which is more reasonable than Figuran driving a blood donation vehicle. The detonating talisman is disguised as toilet paper, and the Uchiha clan Sharingan can't see through it, and the 5 major countries were directly blown up. Then there is economic strength. Let alone the fact that the worst detonating talismans cost 300 taels each, Konan only sells them at 1 tael each, and the economy of the entire ninja world will collapse. What else does Nagato want from the tailed beasts? 100 billion detonating talismans for each of the 5 major ninja villages will let the ninja world know what explosion is art. In front of the real rich woman Konan, is it important whether you can fight or not? The key is whether Nagato, as a leader, will use Konan. In summary, Konan's experience also reflects the experience of war orphans. The happiness that could be touched in a moment has long been untouchable due to the consequences of the war when you think about it. Until Konan's last moment, the deepest part of her heart is still the childhood with Jiraiya, Yahiko, and Nagato. Everything is close at hand, but she can't go back to reality. Konan contracted the toilet paper wholesale? What the hell is this? Hearing the brain hold of Uchiha on the light screen, everyone was at a loss whether to laugh or cry. But if you think about it carefully, it seems feasible to a certain extent. As soon as Minato Namikaze finished speaking, several people subconsciously touched their anus. That scene must be very exciting. How could it not be exciting? What's the difference between this and throwing a bomb in that toilet? Others use detonating tags to kill people, and you use it to blow up shit, right? Seikamo, don't say it, I feel a stench just thinking about it. Third generation, why don't you just stop thinking about it? It's easy to say. The third generation Hokage did not argue with Itachi Seikamo, and simply muttered, and the topic was over. I actually want to know if the economy of the ninja world will really collapse if Konan really wants to sell these 600 billion detonating tags. Orochimaru, don't think about such a horrible thing. Don't think about it. Orochimaru looked at Jiraiya and continued with a playful look. Then let's continue to discuss the matter of placing detonating tags in the toilet. Then let's discuss the economic issue first. Do you understand economics? Do you have to discuss it? Sasuke looked at Jiraiya and Orochimaru with contempt and continued. Excuse me, if we ninjas understand economics, we won't let the daimyo be responsible for people's livelihood and we will be responsible for fighting. Sasuke's words make sense. All the things that ninjas learn in ninja school are not related to economics, people's livelihood, development and other issues. All they learn are things about how to fight. Discussing the economy. Let's first figure out what 50,000 times 50,000 equals. Chapter 225. About 600 billion explosive talismans. Okay, now let's talk about Konan's most explosive 600 billion detonating talismans. The number of these detonating talismans is so large that it can cause the ninja world's paper mills to close down collectively, and Kakuzu was so angry that his 5 hearts exploded on the spot. The topic derived from the detonating talismans also made Konan's prodigal joke gradually outrageous, and even developed an unclear relationship with the 90-year-old comrade Kakuzu, which is really explosive. Regarding whether Konan actually spent her brother Kakuzu's money, and whether her brother Kakuzu would be angry if he knew that Konan exploded 600 billion detonating talismans, let's directly enter the irresponsible analysis link. It's finally time to analyze the 600 billion detonating tags. I want to see what the light curtain can analyze. Yeah, after all, 600 billion detonating tags is indeed a bit too exaggerated. If the Akatsuki organization can cash in these detonating tags, do they still need to capture the Jinchuriki themselves? Wouldn't it be better to just give money to others to do it? Don't even mention asking ninjas to help the Akatsuki organization capture a Jinchuriki. Even if they're asked to attack the ninja village, they probably won't refuse. Just hesitating for a moment is disrespectful to money. After being interrupted by Sasab to discuss the topic of economy, everyone immediately started to complain about Conan's 600 billion detonating tax. There is no other reason, it is because this number is too explosive, and they are not happy if they don't complain. First, let's take a look at the introduction of the detonating tag. A finished product that injects chakra or escape techniques into a piece of paper, etc. to form runes, which is equivalent to a scroll to seal items, and then release them when they are needed. In fact, it is an ancient scientific ninja tool. So, even if detonating talismans can be printed in batches, they still cannot get around the fact that they consume chakra. The explosion scene and power of detonating talismans are also quite random. Some are worse than smoke bombs, some are close to fire escape, and some are half smoke and half fire escape. Here we refer to the detonating talisman used by Hanzo. When fire escape is specially injected, the power of the talisman can be made even stronger. But no matter what type it is, it needs to take a while for the detonating talisman to explode after it is activated, otherwise there will be safety hazards and it is easy to blow yourself up. Laughs. Secondly, detonating talismans also need to have some waterproof function, otherwise it will be embarrassing if they can't be lit on rainy days. So the detonating talisman is expensive because of this craftsmanship. Guan Yu was right. The waterproof technology of detonating talisman is very important. Jiraiya, I remember that you also make detonating talismans for a period of time before. Yes. Jiraiya nodded and recalled some things in the past. Not long after the end of World War II, in order to help Tsunade get out of the sadness of Kato-dan's death as soon as possible, he often dragged Tsunade to the casino to gamble. Everyone knows Tsunade's skills, or how good her gambling luck is. Not long after, all the savings that Jiraiya had accumulated were lost by Tsunade. He wanted to make money, but he didn't want to leave the village to do missions, so he had to work in the detonating talisman factory. Therefore, Jiraiya knew how to make detonating talismans. It is actually very simple to draw talismans on paper. The higher end ones are drawn by hand, and the lower end ones are directly printed. The difficulty in making detonating talismans lies in how to make the paper waterproof. It is for waterproofing that the detonating talismans are divided into grades. A good detonating talisman can be waterproof while not affecting the power of its explosion. However, the waterproof technology of some detonating talismans is not good enough. Waterproofing can indeed be waterproof, just to affect the power of the explosion. According to your experience, how long would it take for a person to make 600 billion of the worst exploding talismans? A few hundred years. What? Are you sure you're not kidding me? It takes hundreds of years to make 600 billion exploding talismans. How did Conan make them? Old man, exploding talismans require chakra to be injected. Even the first generation can't make exploding talismans for 24 hours without rest. You make sense. I have a point. After understanding the exploding talisman in general, let's take a look at Conan's exploding talisman. The rune pattern is relatively simple and crude, and it is more than one level lower than the exploding talisman that even the rich generation Shikamaru thinks is expensive. But when it exploded, flames did appear, which is more than a little more conscientious than the exploding talisman that exploded with white smoke. Secondly, Conan's talisman can explode even if it is soaked in water. The damage of a single piece is definitely not as good as the high-end version of the exploding talisman, but it did blow up Obito. It can be said that, except for being a little ugly, Conan's detonating talisman has everything it should have. Then the question is, did Conan make the detonating talisman herself? How did she solve the problem of paper for making the talisman? Yes, in addition to the need for certain skills to make detonating talismans, a large amount of paper is also a problem. Of course there is no problem. Jiraiya looked at Orochimaru who was speaking and asked, why? Have you forgotten? Conan's specialty is paper escape, so the problem of paper should not be difficult for her. Isn't the paper of paper escape made of chakra? Could it be that the paper in Conan's paper escape can still exist for a long time? Haha, you'll know if you keep reading. As for the problem of using paper, Orochimaru is very confident in Conan. Otherwise, I really don't know how to make up for the paper of these 600 billion detonating talismans. The Rain country is not rich in paper, and their paper can only be barely self-sufficient. It is basically impossible for Conan to pull out such a large amount of paper for her own use. Then there is only one explanation. The paper used to make the exploding talisman was made by Konan using her own abilities. She didn't need to buy it from outside or get it from the Land of Rain. First, let's look at her signature skill, Paper Dance, which is to turn her body into paper. It is set as a unique skill for the character and does not need to follow that basic law. It is known that after Kakashi uses the Earth-style dog head wall, the dog head will not disappear. Then, after Konan, who has a unique skill, uses her own shaker to make paper, the paper will not disappear. When this setting is established, let's look at the plot after Konan blew up Obito. At the time, her shaker had run out, but the pieces of paper were still floating in the water, no different from real exploding talismans. From this, it can be seen that Konan, who has a unique paper ninjutsu, can solve the problem of paper by herself. After having paper, she will definitely need the technology to make exploding talismans. I said in the beginning of the video that Konan is a ninja who will make good arrangements before the battle. So with her understanding, it should not be difficult for her to learn the production process of the exploding talisman. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.